Call to order the Wheeling Plan Commission for Thursday, February 9th, 2012. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Burns. Here. Commissioner Dorban.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Fotto, I'm here. Commissioner Schaaf.
Here.
Commissioner Stylin. Here. And Chairman Maloney.
Here. Mr. Jennings, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Okay. Consent items, we have one docket number SCBA 12-7, Yogurtland, 1568 Lake Cook Road, appearance approval of wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fotto, vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf.
Yes.
Commissioner Stylin.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney.
Yes. Docket number PC 12-4 and SCBA 12-6, Fifth Third Bank, 1590 Lake Cook Road. PC 12-4 is minor appearance approval of a building modification, and SCBA 12-6 is appearance approval of wall and freestanding signs. Mr. Jennings?
No additional staff comments. If the petitioner could please come forward.
And into the microphone, you give your name and address, please.
Christopher Roble, Kiefer and Company, 585 Bond Street, Lincolnshire. My firm has basically been hired to manage the rollout, the reimaging rollout of Fifth Third Bank. Today I'm here to seek your approval on the reimaging of the signage at this location on Lake Cook Road. Does everybody have the sign package in front of them?
Yep.
Okay. On page 5 of 6, we're actually looking to tear down the existing monument sign, keeping the actual brick base that is there and reusing that existing foundation. We're planning to match plate the existing sign to this monument location. Does anybody have any questions on that sign?
You go through, we'll
Okay.
do the questioning. when
On
you're done.
sign B, we're actually looking to redo the tower into an ephes and then attach another sign on there as well, illuminated channel letter set. And sign C, we're also looking to take down the existing channel letter set and put up a new horizon type shield sign. And the same with D. And then over on the ATM sign, we're actually looking to remove that signage.
Before we get started, I have a request. When you come in from Wyland Road, your traffic comes in and goes around the building to go through the drive-in. So when I come in from Wyland Road, there's a sign on the divider between your drive-in, where they're coming out, and the road going up to Staples in there. And it's a big do not enter sign. I was wondering if you could modify that, because people are getting confused. They see do not enter and they start backing up onto Wyland Road sometimes.
Okay.
No, this isn't in here.
It's not currently in here?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't think we have an image of it.
What would you recommend for that?
I think we can work with the village staff, contact the bank. I think what Chairman Maloney is referring to is the do not enter sign directly adjacent to the entrance off of Wyland. It may be a Fifth Third. It may also be the landlord's sign, directional sign for the landlord. So we can note it and contact the landlord or Fifth Third.
It appears it's telling you not to go in, so you'd be driving into the people coming through the
Okay.
drive-in, but other people are looking and wondering,
Where do I go, right?
how do I get in here? So that's irrelevant to this, but I wish you would do something about
It
it.
is referenced in the package
Is it?
as one of the H
Okay.
signs.
I hadn't seen that part.
Page 3.
Okay.
We'll take a look at it.
Anything else?
No, that is it.
Staff have any comments? Mr. Burns?
Thank you. I have no questions or comments. I'm in favor of the request.
Mr. Johnson?
I also have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Rafato?
Just for clarification, the signs on the south, no, let's see, what would that be? East, west, and south, those are all being replaced, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then the sign up on the tower is a similar sign. I was just, when you were going through them, I'm trying to follow through here. Yeah, that sign, the Fifth Third is individual channel letters, and that was in here, right? That's this, is that one, correct?
The one where they're replacing their tower that's up
Yes,
on the
right.
board? No, that's not that one. That's on the side.
This one's on the side?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're correct.
Okay,
I don't have my contacts in today.
that's right. Okay, that's all I had, thank you.
No problem.
Commissioner Dorband?
No, but I really appreciate the thoroughness of the packet, especially the summary of the signs and where they're located. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stylen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I only have one question about the monument sign. You're going to be adding 17 inches of new brick.
That's correct.
How, are you going to be able to match the existing brick pretty closely? I mean, it's relatively...
Yes, this is actually something we do. We find that we have to do at a lot of the Illinois locations, is that a lot of them are actually retrofitting the existing brick. And yes, we will be able to match that.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's my only concern, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Schaaf?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My questions and comments have to do with the tower.
Okay.
Was it ever considered, since all of that building is brick, and up on that tower you're going to use EIFS, was it ever considered to fill in the window spaces with brick?
You know what, I'm actually going to have to say that I'm not sure if that has been considered. These branding packages are already designed once my company gets them, and they've already been approved by Fifth Third, so I couldn't tell you what the internal discussions at Fifth Third Corporate have been in regards to that.
I mean, I like the limestone, and I assume that that's limestone up there.
Would that be correct?
Yeah, so the whole building is brick and limestone, and then you're going to go and change it to EIFS. I'm just not real comfortable with that change. I would have liked to, if you had considered, you know, filling that window space up just with the brick to match the brick of the building. Those are my comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. And mine only is, as was pointed out to me, H on the
Right.
sign, the one that's up against the drive.
Okay.
Does anyone want to add on to what Commissioner Schaaf had to say about the EIFS?
No.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion?
So moved,
Oh,
Mr.
so hold on. We have motion on PC 12-4. Are there conditions?
Not on the PC docket.
Okay, we hear a motion on PC 12-4, minor
So-
appearance approval.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Stylen, seconded by Commissioner Rafato. Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
Commissioner Rafato, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorband?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. SCBA 12-6, approval of a wall and freestanding signs. Mr. Jennings?
I do have one condition, that the petitioner work with staff to investigate reconfiguration of the do not enter signage.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Rafato, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Rafato, I vote yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorband?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf?
No.
And Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. You'll have some papers to sign,
Okay.
and you're free to
Sign
go.
them here, or?
Pardon?
Sign them here?
Yes, we'll have you, the other end there.
Door.
Violation of the open meeting.
Did we end up with enough?
Okay, calling docket number PC 12-5, Meadowbrook Tot Lot, 425 Nancy Lane, minor site plan and appearance approval. Mr. Jennings?
No additional staff comments at this time. I believe the petitioner is present.
Would you give your name?
And my name is Larry Raffel. I'm the Superintendent of Planning at the Wheeling Park District, or at 333 West Dundee Road. And I'm on here on behalf of the minor site plan and appearance approval of Meadowbrook Tot Lot. If I may, I'd like to give you kind of a brief overview of this particular tot lot. You longtime residents will know that this was the first park purchased by the Wheeling Park District. It's our oldest park in the system. And currently, it is a half-acre site, and the remaining property, about 2.5 acres, is actually owned by the Village of Wheeling, which was purchased by the MWRD specifically to lease to the Wheeling Park District. So all we really own is the half-acre site in front of the property owned by the Village of Wheeling. And what we are here before the Commission tonight is to do a kind of a redevelopment of this playground. Right now, it's just a small little area, wood timbers, wood chips, and 2 tot swings. And you can see that on the existing conditions slide up there. There's the location, and then some different views. The playground itself was removed a few years back, and then that area was just the ties and the wood chips was removed and just turfed over. So what we're looking to do at the playground now is actually take the equipment that we put in at Heritage Park back in the summer of 2006 and place it at Meadowbrook. And as part of that, we've also done a design concept, as you can see right here, where the 2 tot swings are actually new tot swings, but they're in the approximate location of the old tot swings. But the entire edging, safety surfacing, poles, tot swings themselves, all brand new. And then create another area in front of that for the play structure. Now, this is designated as a tot lot in our Park District system, which means it's primarily for children ages 2 to 5. Although this piece of equipment, when we did design it, we asked for some additional elements to it for kids a little bit older. So it does have things like parallel bars and some climbing pieces for kids older because it takes some upper body strength. So our intention is to then put that in the area just west of the swings area. And typically what we do in a playground design is we separate swings from other play elements just as a general safety factor. So you can see we have the swings area, the playground area, and then the intention is to bring a sidewalk, that's concrete sidewalk, 5 feet wide for ADA accessibility to the play structures. In addition to the play structures, we also propose benches, trash cans for recycling, and a new park sign. And I want to note also that the playground safety surface is a completely 100% ADA accessible. If you've been over to our playground at Northside Park, this is a similar system as that, although the surface itself won't be that kind of spaghetti fused looking material. This will actually be kind of like an AstroTurf looking. And we'll be the first park in the Chicagoland area to be using this. So we're real excited about that. A couple things to note about the neighbors and the residents nearby. This playground itself was designed through a neighborhood public process. We conducted a listening session for the neighbors, which we did in 2006 when we purchased the equipment. We conducted 2 design sessions with the neighbors. So the neighborhood was involved in the planning of this play equipment. And then yesterday we sent out 300 letters to all the neighbors in the Meadowbrook area and also on the other side of Wolf Road, kind of notifying them of this upgrade to the playground. So we've got the play equipment. We've been working with the village engineer because from our initial topographic survey, a portion of this site is in the floodplain, but I believe with the revised survey, the entire playground itself will be out of the floodplain. We haven't received that yet, but that's kind of our initial view of the revised topographic survey. And you can see the play equipment here, just some different views of it and the tot swings themselves. So our plan is to, we've already removed it, obviously, because those of you familiar with Heritage Park we opened bids earlier this week and hope to have that fenced off and construction beginning by the beginning of next month. So it's already been removed, and we'd like to move forward and place this piece of equipment in Meadowbrook Tot Lot. And if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Just one quick one for me. You got the tot lot here, then to the east and towards the north is land, and that's MDC, that's Metropolitan Water District land where he's doing, that's for your use.
Well, you own it. The village owns it.
They own it.
We lease it. We actually
You lease it from the
We have a 99-year lease that expires, I believe, in 2083 or something. But that's a good point, though, because there are a lot of easements on this property, utility easements, and this playground is out of every easement.
Okay. Thank you. Staff have any comments? Start with Commissioner Durband.
I really don't have any questions, except can you tell me, you said about the new configuration on the ground. Can you tell me more about that? Because it fascinates me to hear about it.
It's really an interesting safety surface. What it is it's a system called Smarty, and it's a gravel base, and then we have these big, they're probably, I don't know, almost like 36 by 36 cushions that are filled with recycled rubber tires. That's placed on the stone base, and then it's infilled with recycled rubber tires, and then the top surface, which is only about 1/4 of an inch thick, is literally rolled out like carpet, and there's an adhesive where it's tied to the pillow type material, and then to the edging. It's literally nailed in. There's like an edging board, and it's nailed into that. So, and the nice thing about this is that should it be damaged or for any reason, we literally cut out a piece and just put down a new piece.
Very neat. I'll be fascinated to see that.
It's really nice, something.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice job, well done. No more questions, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you. I only have one question, since I understand that, it was a tot lot, but now you're going to have kids, a little bit higher age group. Is there any provisions for a bike rack?
Yeah, there is a bike rack.
Because I didn't see it on the plan.
Yeah, I think you might not see it because you're right. It's actually right under the tree. It's not drawn in, but you're absolutely right. There's a bike rack right under that tree where the sidewalk to the playground meets the existing sidewalk. There will be a bike rack there.
Oh, okay, very good. I would like that put in the, since it's not shown on the drawing, like that put into the plan. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Ruffado.
Thank you. Are you replacing the walkway from the sidewalk to the play area?
Right now, there is no sidewalk.
So, okay, so that's all new then?
Yes.
Okay, so what's that constructed of? Just regular concrete?
That's concrete, yes.
Regular concrete, and then the benches, what are those constructed of? What are they, just similar to what you're going to have in the, what do they look like?
Yeah, what they are is they're the same type of bench we're using in Heritage Park. We used it north side. It's a combination of metal and recycled plastic
Okay.
that looks like wood planks.
Okay,
And they'll be sitting on a concrete pad.
concrete pad, off of the walkway around?
Right, it's off the walkway, because that walkway itself is actually wider, because our thought is that, say, mom or dad is pushing a stroller, and strollers may congregate at that area right when you enter the playground. This is another way to get around that.
So how wide is that walk then?
That's 6 feet wide.
Okay. 6 feet wide. And then you have a seat wall there. What is
Right.
that constructed of?
That's constructed of Unilock pavers. It's the same as we have as north side. They look like, they're made of concrete, but they have like kind of a rough finish. And it'll be
Right.
about 22 inches high and have a limestone or a cast concrete cap to it.
Okay. Does that have to be included in the plans? Just to,
The location of the seat wall? or
no,
exactly
no,
what it's
construction, what materials and things like that? I don't know,
I mean, I don't suppose it hurts to note it. It'll be included in the permit drawings, but
Okay, it just wasn't on any of the drawings. and-
sure, we can note it.
Okay. It looks great, though. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you. I agree, it looks great. I have no further questions.
Commissioner Burns?
Thank you. Larry, did you say you're not going to touch the sign? That's not part of this project?
No, we are putting in a new sign.
Putting in a new sign,
Yeah.
but it's not part of this?
It is part of this. But we got the approval for the sign back in May of 2011, when we came before and got approval for all of our parks for new signs. And I'd be happy, I do have actually a picture of the sign we're going to be using with me, if you'd like to see it.
It's the same as the one that's out here and all the other parks.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be the same style.
Yep,
Who does it? Do you do the fabricating the signs in-house, or do you contract that out?
we do it in-house.
In-house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to note on that same thing, the posts for the sign, or the seat wall, is made of the same material as the post for the signs.
Oh, that's nice. And finally, where were all these soft surfaces when we were climbing monkey bars on asphalt lots?
Yeah.
Did our parents not love us, or?
We were tough.
We survived. We were tougher.
We were tougher back then.
Thank you. Those are all my comments, Mr. Chairman.
And aside, since you do make your signs inside, the one that's out here looks like it was in a flood.
Which
The sign
The
in
new
front
sign
of
we put
Village
up?
Hall going in, yeah, it's, the bottom third of it looks like it was in a flood and it's got a
Yeah.
high water mark on it. It's a different color.
You know what's funny about that is that one we did not do. We actually got our sign machine after we had purchased that one. So actually, that's been mentioned before, and we should probably redo that one.
Any other comments? Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a motion made and seconded, please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Steilen, seconded by Commissioner Ruffalo. Commissioner Steilen?
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffalo, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorband?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. We'll have some papers and you'll be on your way.
Just for clarification, since I didn't read that, the motion that was just made included the condition relating to the bike rack at the intersection of the sidewalk and walkway, and the seat wall construction of Unilock pavers with a cast concrete cap to match the signpost material.
Great.
How are things going at the new building?
Good, yeah.
I see a lot of activity over there.
I expect we should be doing some moving within the next couple weeks. So, thank you very much.
you.
Okay, calling docket number PC 12-6, Soundgarden, 149 South Milwaukee Avenue. Approval of minor site plan modifications to an existing commercial daycare. Mr. Jennings?
Thank you. You can come forward while I'm discussing this. The concept of a expansion to this particular daycare was the subject of a staff presentation to the Plan Commission in October. The decision at that time was that the expansion into the adjacent animal health clinic would be considered minor due to the fact that the expansion was to accommodate the changing space needs of the daycare and not an increase in the capacity of the daycare. So the only additional staff note at this time is that should this recommendation be made to the village board, a second ordinance would also be involved. The animal health clinic special use ordinance floor plan would be updated as well. So both floor plans would be swapped out should this item be approved.
Thank you. Sir, would you give us your name and address into the microphone, please?
Yes, Ruslan Skandras. I'm the owner of the Soundgarden Daycare on 149 South Milwaukee.
And would you tell us what you'd like to do?
Yes, we'd like to sublease the additional room from the vet, since he doesn't use it, he doesn't need that. And at this time, our intention is to improve the service quality. Since it's getting tough in this business, and as you all know, there's the big new daycare center coming up. So we just want to provide a better service to our customers. And we also need the additional storage room, so that room right next to the auditorium is it's going to be used for costume storage, equipment storage. So those kids will be moving in the new room. And it's going to be just minor remodeling in there. We have signed agreement with the landlord and with the vet as well.
Okay, thank you. Staff? Comments? No? Mr. Rufato?
My only concern was with the fire department, and they've allayed my concern, so I have no other questions. Because this was, we had talked about this at length before. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you. I noticed that in the new room, you've got replace overhead door with new window.
Yes.
Can you describe what that window is?
Yeah, right now there is the garage door, which not been used for years. So basically, we need to have a window. So we replacing that garage door with the window.
The full size of the garage door?
Not a full size, not a full size.
So it's going to be framed in?
Yes,
and
right,
just be,
right. Basically the standard window size, not as big as the garage door.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about.
No, it's about
It's a lot of glass.
No, just a standard size. Since there are no more windows in that room, we need one.
And then it looks like you're adding another restroom next to the,
No, we don't. We do not.
oh, that's what's showing on the plan here. The one that's up there next to the pantry?
No, we're not adding. No,
You're not adding that?
no.
It's an existing restroom. correct?
Oh,
Yeah, that's an existing. Yes, right.
guess I didn't see that on the original. I don't see it on this one, Andrew.
I think we just.
So was that changed
This is-
somewhere
yeah,
along
this
the
is-
line?
That was changed during permitting. This was the original submittal from 2007?
10.
2010, sorry. And it was the best
Okay.
graphic I had on hand.
Okay.
It was just to illustrate where the animal medical center was.
All right, that's
now
all
I
my
see it
questions.
too.
Thank you. Commissioner Burns?
Now I see it.
Thank you. I guess I'm real concerned with the exiting, the auditorium, the stage area. To exit the stage, you have to go through a storage room, formal room number 4.
No, to exit, actually, the auditorium right now has 4 exits. As you can see, one right next to the room number 4, and there is another one, for some reason, it's not on the plan, it's on the other side of the stage.
And that would go outside directly?
Yes, it goes straight to outside.
That would help.
Yeah, we made it up. It's not on the plan for some reason.
That would help.
And there are two exits, as you can see.
Yes, at the back of the
So it's all
auditorium.
together, all 4 exits.
Let's make sure that that one gets in the plans, please, Andrew.
It's right next to the stage on the other side, on the right side.
That would be great. That was my only question, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorband.
Thank you. I'm checking here that it says you will or will not be changing the maximum amount of children
No,
to
we're not.
50?
No,
No. Okay, and what about staff? Will you be adding
No.
additional staff? No. So nothing, those kinds of numbers are not changing
No.
at all? Okay, that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Jim referred to this already, but the fire department came out with a memo yesterday with certain conditions and recommendations. Are you aware of? Okay. I don't know, do we need to explain the conditions at all to the petitioner?
They relate to the code. We can provide them a copy of it, but it relates to the code requirements for the building permit.
That's my only concern, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you. I'm still not comfortable with taking out the second exit with that animal clinic. I just want to confirm that there's no need for an additional exit. And my comments directed to Ron.
Yeah, based on the occupant load and the travel distance, once that's verified, because there is a slight question on that, depending on where that back wall actually ends and that small little offset room there is. Working off the drawings I had, it's about 94 feet, and the maximum travel distance in a fully sprinklered building for a one exit space is 100 feet. So they're
Okay.
right at the edge of what's allowable by code.
Yeah, because it would be easy just to put a door in there, only opening from the animal clinic going out, but, as long as you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it.
It complies with the code. No, it's one of those things that it's
Yeah, you're
allowed
right
in the
on
code,
the
and this is not a assembly use group occupancy like a restaurant or a nightclub.
Right.
It's a little different type of a situation, and it should not be a significant issue for an occupancy of that type.
Right, yeah, I didn't have any problem with the daycare center part of it. It was just that second exit that I thought it would be easy enough to rectify, just by putting a door that could only be opened into that classroom.
Well, then there becomes a code issue that they're not allowed to exit through another tenant space.
Okay, I got it. Okay. That was all my questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes. Mr. Finer.
You mentioned replacing the overhead door with a new window. So what is your plan with are you going to replace the bottom with brick
Yes, right.
to match that?
Yeah, the
Okay.
bottom will be in the brick, I believe sides and the top. I don't know exactly. I'm not a construction guy, but the
Okay.
intention is to put a window there.
Okay.
Not as big as the garage door because it's huge and pretty tall.
Now you have a fence. You're not extending that fence, correct?
No.
Okay. All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jennings, can you read the conditions?
Sure, the first two are from the staff report. Number one, the daycare shall be limited to a maximum capacity of 50 children. Number two, that the legislation for the adjacent animal hospital unit also be amended. Number three, which was discussed this evening, that the plan shall be updated to reflect the correct exiting configuration from the auditorium.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
A motion was made by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes, and Chairman Maloney.
Yes. Have something to sign and
Thank you.
all set.
And you can be in touch with our staff to discuss the date of the board meeting.
Okay, calling docket number PC 12-7, Phillips 6614 North Elmhurst Road, minor site plan and appearance approval for landscaping. Mr. Jennings.
Thank you. Just a couple of notes. The staff report on this item listed several questions based on the original submittal. The original submittal, as the commissioners will recall, was a condition of approval related to the recently approved special use for the gas station, convenience store, and car wash. That condition read that the petitioner, I'll paraphrase, the petitioner will submit a bond for the amount of the landscaping, and that the landscaping plan shall be revised and submitted for further review by February of this year. So the plan that was submitted for your packet left a handful of questions. Those questions were listed out in the staff report. Petitioner, having received that report, revised the plans in response. The staff received their revisions in response to the staff report today, and that is what you have in front of you. We've had a brief opportunity to review the plan. It seems to answer the questions that staff had, with the exception of the landscaping. There's a note in the new plan that says that the landscaping irrigation would not be provided. The staff had asked for which areas would be irrigated and which wouldn't, so in a way that does answer that question. The other question, based on the submittal from earlier today, was the material for the planter and the material for the edging. Just clarifications. We can show you the photographs that were received, but that's the current status. A revised plan submitted today for your review and discussion, and the petitioner is here to discuss the plan.
You have the floor, sir. Would you give your name and address, please?
My name is Tom Wald. I'm with Rough Landscaping. My address is 1370 Medina Drive, and I am the contractor installing the landscaping for this property.
Okay. Like to make your presentation?
Muhammad Ahmed, 9739 West Irving Park Road, Schiller Park, Illinois.
Irfan Bagat from 9739 West Irving Park Road, Schiller Park.
Someone going to make a presentation?
Well, I'm the contractor that's going to be installing the landscaping for this property to try and clean it up and put some new material and get rid of some of the dead material that's there and replacing some sod. Basically it.
We'll have questions for you. Before I do that, does staff have any questions or any comments?
Yeah, I do have one question. For the sod in the parkway along Dundee Road, is that going to be salt tolerant sod?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll start with Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It doesn't have to do with landscaping, that fence back there on the west side of the property. Is that your responsibility, or is that AutoZone, or a combination of both? I know there's a damaged fence back there.
That fence, we did determine during the last hearing that fence is the petitioner's property. It is part of what would be addressed. It would be removed in conjunction with this work.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to see what changes you've got. I didn't know that when you put evergreen in the rhododendron bush, is that the color, or I didn't know rhododendron was an evergreen.
Rhododendron is not an evergreen.
Right, it's a bush.
Yes, it's a shrub.
Okay, and
it blooms in like May.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a specific color that you're going for, or just?
We basically tried to come up with a few different colors for that property, so it's not just bland, it's not just one color. So rhododendron's more of a purple, and we put, let's say, Stellas in, which are yellow.
Right.
And we have azalea. So we have several different colors on that property.
Okay, and that's going to be, the rhododendron is up on the, okay, that's on the Elmhurst Road side, right?
Yes.
Okay, now you've got provisions for seasonal flowers in the planter?
Yeah, in the planter boxes.
Okay, in the planter
themselves,
boxes.
yeah. So those would be, let's say, annuals.
Right. Okay. To give you some added color in there.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm of course, I'm happy with anything that improves that corner. It was pretty shabby, but those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stilen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I guess, again, my concern is the landscaping, and it's very difficult for me to see from this plan what real materials are new, what materials, some of which are being relocated, some of which are dead and are being replaced. And I guess what I did was I went and counted the number of circles on the plan, which I counted up to 115 circles on the plan, and then went down the quantity list, and it looks like you'll be, in the top section, you'll be planting 60 new varieties, and then this Japanese silver grass, you've got another 30 of those plants. I really don't know what the Japanese silver grass looks like, or how big it grows, or...
It's just like a normal grass, but in the tip, when it grows to full maturity, it's like a yellow, or yellow grayish, blows around, and you can keep it up all year long. It's recommended to cut it back in the fall and let it rebloom in the spring.
How tall does it
They can get to be 3 to 5 feet tall.
And how far does it spread? Does it grow, creep like grass does, or?
It won't creep like grass, but, I mean, we can space them. I mean, if you tell me to keep them, you want a bunch closer to make a hedge, we can do that, but I would probably recommend giving it a little bit space so it can grow. It won't grow fatter than, let's say, 1.5 feet.
So if I add that grass in with the 60 species above, that comes up with 90. Like I said, you had 115 circles. Does that mean that there's roughly 25 existing shrubs on the site that you're going to reuse, or?
Yeah, the existing plant material that we can save that's not dead or looks partially dead, we would like to keep on that property.
I guess I just a little uncomfortable with how it's going to look. I hear a planting bed. Is that the box that's around the sign, or I see something that says apparently 2.5 inch or 2.5
foot
high something?
Yeah, there's going to be a planter box that's going to be installed by the sign because we need to elevate it a little bit to cover up all the wires and everything for it so people don't see all that stuff, electrical, in that area there. And we will have annuals in there, maybe some perennials, which all these little dots, some of them are just daylilies, just little flower type, just to decorate around the sign, but nobody's going to actually see all those pipes under there.
The box is, all these little dots that you have on the plan, are those inside the box, or is
Yes.
the planter going to be that rectangle around the base of the sign?
It's shaped as a circle, so it's like a half moon, so everything's going to be inside the box.
Okay, and then what's that little square around the base of the sign?
I'm assuming that's probably the footing for the actual sign. It's concrete slab. I don't,
So is it higher than,
it's going to be, it should be below. You're not going to see that concrete footing.
okay, is it going to be
And
covered
probably
with
be
dirt?
covered
or-
with mulch or something. Yeah, I don't know the construction of the sign.
Andrew, do you know?
You're not going to see it.
Yeah, you're not going to see it.
On this, just to clarify what is being proposed at the corner, we've got two different materials here. Can you explain which one is which briefly? Which material?
It's going to be the one on the right, which will be like the Unilock estate wall,
Okay,
and then it also has a cap on top of it.
okay. And then what is the material on the left?
This is suggested for either that or this.
That is probably some prefab type of construction.
So the proposal is specifically the Unilock
Yes.
for both the area by the sign as well as the other planting?
Yeah, the other area, which is the south side of the property, that would be a straight wall. The other one would be curved around
Okay.
the sign.
And then for clarification, our understanding of the staff understanding of this was that this rectangle was a 2.5-foot tall rectangular wall, and that it would be constructed of, I guess, this material up to a height of 2.5 feet with the annuals inside that as a planter box, and then the other material just as labeled. So our understanding was that this rectangle was a raised planter for flowers, and then below it you would have exactly what is shown here, which is the material, the shrub material, the perennials that are labeled there.
Is that how the signs get?
If that's not what you're trying to illustrate on the drawing, this would be the time to.
I think what the Unilock estate wall block is for the curvature. Do you have a picture of this?
No.
Not today, I don't think I
Okay,
have.
so basically this sign here, this curvature here, is where this wall block would go.
And that is a height of what?
You need 2.5 foot, so I think they're referring to that this actual sign, you have some footing that's going to be 2.5 feet high. This is probably only needs to go like maybe 8 inches high, just to cover the wiring in the boxes.
So it's that aspect of it is similar to the others, where you've got an edging effect, is
Yeah,
what you're trying to
basically,
illustrate.
it's used for edging, but it's also used to cover up the wiring and
So you're filling the dirt up to a height of about 8 inches. That material's there, and then you've got the separate rectangular planter box coming up with the annuals in it, correct? That's the
Next to the
2.5
sign,
foot, that's
yes.
the 2.5 foot portion.
yes.
Okay. That's how we understood the drawing to be then. Okay. Was the plan commission understanding of that drawing the same
I
as?
don't know, can we see his picture? Maybe that
Yeah,
might.
that would be a lot. I think that's what I asked for.
Yeah, I thought they had it up here.
Probably could find it, actually.
Down that way. That doesn't show the 2.5-foot rectangle.
Yeah, but they're asking about the sign, if the sign has a 2.5-foot stoop, because as you can see, the sign, it's got a footing. It looks like a concrete footing to me.
But this piece, and that's this half moon.
Cover it up with
They're
the
both going to be the same material.
Maybe we have
So
to bring
high.
up the wall
That's what I'm
higher.
getting.
I would need to know how high that footing is, that covers the grade, whatever the grade is.
Whatever height.
That's what the drawing says, 2.5 foot.
They're very particular on the 2.5 foot, is that the height of the footing.
Could be close to 6.
That's what I need to know, I don't know.
Inside thing.
You need to tell me.
I don't know how
About
high
the
the
sign.
footing is.
Okay,
But what we can do is just go up to the footing
yes,
and then level it up there.
and if that's what the height is.
Okay, there's a question, Andrew.
Yes.
And for the landscaper, that planter is going to be 2.5 foot high. Around the semicircle around the sign.
Up to the, we cover the footing. So if it's gonna be 2 feet or 2.5 feet, we don't know exactly how. high
Okay,
the
because
footing-
both planters, the square planter on the south side and the half moon at the corner, are both designated 2.5 foot. But you might have to adjust that to allow, to make sure it covers.
Covers it, yeah.
Okay, that's how I understand it. Is that how you understand it?
Well, that's what the drawing seems to.
That's what the drawing is saying.
When I'm looking at this drawing, what I think is missing, it's difficult at this scale, but this label here has a unilock, dry set border or similar. That's what's shown there.
Yes.
This line, the half moon line, doesn't have that label on it. So I think that's the confusion, is if that is the intent, is for each of these beds to have 8-inch high, then this would need that label on it as well. Then the separate question is the rectangle.
I see the problem, Andrew. The plans that we're looking at have the 2.5 foot high wall pointing directly to the circle piece. Your plan has, at least the one you're showing, has the 2.5 height wall pointing to the inside portion of that rectangle.
That's not a wall, that's a sign. That's when you look at from the top view.
That's the note from the staff report. If you look at the
Commissioner Stidham,
staff
we got a-
report, number 2 is that
Got a new one to replace.
their drawing is, and that's what this says. The note is, the arrow's pointing to the wrong thing.
Square, they want to know what it is and how high this is.
Doesn't,
That's not doing it.
Mr.
No,
Chairman?
but this picture shows a square, so whoever did this.
Okay, now it's starting to make sense.
It's not to me.
This was wrong. They had a typo here.
And I just happened to see we have a new plan with a new arrow
Yes, that's the one that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting.
that I didn't look at.
Sorry. So that sorry, to clarify, there were, I think, seven questions in the staff report. The plan that you have is what they created after they got the staff report. So they got the staff report, went through the staff report, responded to those 7 questions, and the plan that you have is their response to those 7 questions. So I apologize if that wasn't clear at the beginning, but that was the intent of this plan, was to respond to the staff comments.
Let me try to clarify. The On Elmhurst Road, that planting there, it's going to be unilock, and how high is it going to be? Is it going to be two high, 2 stones high, or two unilock bricks high, or is it one high, or what?
It's basically going to be 1 to 2, really depending on the height of that grade there. Because existing there on that property are railroad ties, and
Yeah.
they're only about maybe 3 inches high. So we really don't have to go higher than that.
Well, that probably settled, though, over years.
So
That could have settled, so.
then we might have to go more than 1, or might be 2.
Or you should go two
Bury the first one, like 2
two
or 3
tiers with a
inches.
cap, just to make it look halfway decent.
Okay.
And the next thing is, when you get to the one where the freestanding sign is, again, it would be the same configuration on the circular part, and what we're showing here is surrounding the sign is a 2.5-foot high planter, also made out of unilock. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
And that is the rectangle.
So how thick is a brick?
Those things, it depends on what size you get. They come in different sizes, but they're about 3.5, 4 inches thick.
So in general.
So two of them plus a cap would be 8
to 10?
10 inches, probably. Am I correct, roughly? If you put 2 and then there's a cap that goes on the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
So these two areas, the one to the south and the one to the east,
Would be 2 courses plus a cap,
so roughly 10 to 12.
approximately.
Inches.
Depends on, like I say, they come in different, these here look like they're almost 8 inches each block. Is this the exact block you're using, or is it just?
Not an exact, it's just an illustration, but that is the unilock block. They have
Yeah.
several types of sizes and heights.
I've used them
Very
myself.
similar.
I'd like to set a height for that.
I understand. I want to get the general thing down clear. So we're going to have 2 courses in both of these places with a cap. It's similar to what's shown here. This is 3 courses with a cap. And then where the sign is, you're going to have a rectangular planter box around it. There's going to be approximately 2.5 feet high.
Yes.
And that's going to be, the 2 posts are going to come in, and it'll surround the posts. Okay?
Could that be 2.5 inches or 2.5 feet higher than the cap that's going to be there? Because otherwise, if it's just,
I think we had one problem that was brought up at one time, was that if you put too much there, people coming down Elmhurst Road, turning right, might not have a good view of traffic coming from the other side. There was a vision, am I correct on that, Andrew, or?
That's correct. That was the issue with the original design from prior to this petitioner owning the property.
So this would be like, that center one, if that's the case, would be about 18 inches higher than the surrounding wall.
and that would be roughly how many more courses would, you're going to see 2 at the bottom, so you'd see maybe 2 or 3 above that?
Yeah, probably 3, plus a cap. And then you'd have your plantings coming up above that. I'm only interrupting because it was getting confusing and I was confused. Did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say that this drawing replaced the one that came with our packet.
Right.
We've covered.
So if we can specify that in the conditions, that will help clarify a lot of things. And I'm sorry if you would continue.
No, I think that's, that gives us a side view, I think, that we're missing from this plan. I think that would be reasonable to me.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorband.
Oh, thank you. Andrew, you said the fence would be removed,
Yes, that was a condition of approval from the special use itself.
but will it be replaced?
It will be removed.
So it's not going to be replaced at all?
That's correct.
Okay. The sizing on and the quantity of the plantings. In the past, we've had some issues where the size of the containers of the plants that are put in are so small, it takes years for them to grow. is there a way of getting the maximum size in there already so we have something that's really, looks nice right from the get-go?
Something that's more mature.
Right.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, so if that's the case, then do we need to change the size on these plants for the future so that we
Basically,
know what we're approving, in other words?
basically the perennials, they're only one size. So the grasses, they'll come in like a 3-gallon, 2-gallon, between 2 and 3 gallon, and they'll grow on their own. They need, very little water. Some of the shrubs here, if you need to have, let's say 5-gallon or 36-inch, so 3-foot size, I could put that in the plan.
Okay,
Instead of like something that's, just like a 1-gallon or 3-gallon pot. We
Yeah,
can get balled and burlapped plant material instead of anything that's in a plot that's not a perennial.
I'd like to see a larger, more mature plant put in there so that it actually looks like something when it's planted.
Okay, so everything that's larger than the perennials, you just want them balled and burlapped, as
Right.
opposed to something that comes in a 5-gallon pot.
Correct.
Okay.
The other thing is, I know we briefly touched on some of the colors, because we have such an opportunity at this corner. I hope you'd be creative in the colors that you mix up, because there's a lot of different colors of daylilies.
Sure.
I'm hoping that, we can get a little more color just besides, the yellow daylilies or the purple rhododendron. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think some of the color that we're really going to bring into this property will be the annuals that are going to be going in the planter boxes, because that's where you can get the most bang for the buck with the color. We can get like, let's say 10 or 15 different varieties of colors, as opposed to the major plant material or the larger foundation plant material. That's the stuff that's going to need the waters, the annuals. These perennials here, they'll grow like weeds once you get them in and established. And that's the stuff we really need to set up here right now, and then the annuals should take care of the more color that you're looking for.
Which brings to mind another question. Because these are going, if you're going to put annuals, they obviously need water. That's a very sunny location. What are the provisions for making sure that they have water?
Well, the annuals still have to be watered by hand with like a bucket or something, because some of these are going to be in planter boxes, so you can't really put an irrigation system in these planter boxes.
I just have a little concern. I want to make sure that they are watered. I don't know how we can't legislate that, I suppose, but I certainly, that concerns me, because you're going to put a lot of money into annuals. I would hope that they would get not only watered, but weeded, so we don't have a lot of weeds growing up in between them. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rafato.
Thank you. Just to continue on with Commissioner Dorban, the planter boxes, what's the construction of them?
The boxes themselves are going to be made out of the wall blocks, the retaining
Okay,
wall blocks.
I just wanted to make sure that, when I think of a planter box, I think of something wooden, and I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going down a different path.
No.
Okay, great. And you talked about the size of the plants, and you're talking about something, instead of in a container, would be balled and baled. But in some cases, we look also at quantities of, you have, for instance, the 10-inch daylily, and I believe that reads 29, okay? And those are spread out through, you've got 12 over by the entrance to the car wash, and some on the east side. So is it helpful to increase the quantity of those too, so they fill in quickly? Or is 29 enough to make it look mature? I know daylilies spread like crazy, and they might, after, all I'm looking for is assurances that and I don't expect it to look real mature when it comes in, but at least have a mature look with what you're saying is 29. With 12 over by the entrance to the car wash and however many, 8 over here. As long as it looks mature, and I think that's what Commissioner Dorban was looking for, when it's put in, and something to the effect, not that it would look overgrown, but something, because actually the store right next to you is where we found that out at when the AutoZone came in. They put in the right type of plants, but we never got the quantity. These things were just teeny tiny, and it's taken them a long time to mature. So, I'm sure daylily is probably the wrong thing to use, but I just want to make sure that the quantities that we're using give it a better look than something, than a little bit more mature look. So if you're going to tell me that, yeah, these will do it, then I'm okay with that.
I think they will do it. I mean, I'm not 100% because it's not, once I lay it out, if it looks like it needs some more, I can get some more. It's very easy.
Okay. All right. And I guess and this isn't for this, and I'm okay with it. And we've struggled with this in the past as to how we know. That's a tough one to do. I just can't figure that one out. Okay, so now to the sign in that area. To be honest with you, I still don't understand what we're doing here. We've got the semicircle that in the sign. Is that going to be 2.5 feet high?
Oh, the rectangular box.
No, I asked about the semicircle first. The semicircle, what is that? That's going to be the same material as the box, but how high is it going to be?
It'll be 2.5 feet.
No.
Semicircle.
It's going to be two blocks plus a cap. That's what we went through a little while ago. Here.
So it'll be
I would
11 inches high, and then the box will be 2.5 feet high.
Okay, great. Then, is there anything behind the sign, that would abut up next to the asphalt?
Talking about right here, right? Isn't that going to be a concrete curb? Like what do you guys have here?
It's asphalt.
Asphalt runs right, that's what I'm wondering.
Right into
Are you going to continue the two course of the stone and the cap around the back of the sign to meet the semicircle?
what it's saying is.
Or is there something else there?
Are we going to close up with the same height
How
by
does,
the asphalt?
how is this drawn? Yes.
Yeah,
It's a curb.
we can just follow the same. and
It's a curb now.
I'm pretty sure, well, we're going to probably close it off with the cap. So this way we don't have anything. If we get a heavy rain or something, I don't want it coming off into the asphalt. So we need to have it, we need to hold it in. So we're going to have a wall on that side.
Okay. So I think we need I think Commissioner Johnson, you just said that it's a curb?
I believe it is, yes.
It's a curb now. So,
Just build the wall back from the curb.
But I don't know about the slope of that corner, too. If he's 2 courses high at the far end of that curve, that circular area, he could be even with the curb when he gets in the back.
could very well be.
In which case, he wouldn't have to build up anything.
Visually,
There is a slope.
I understand the front and I understand the planter box, same material. And I see that you're taking out the electrical box, which is an eyesore and bugs me. But I just don't know about that back now with if it's a curb and would you put the brick right up to the curb? I don't know.
If I could just interject a potential condition to address that.
Okay.
And I've got a couple, I can read through them. But right now, the condition that I've got worded to address that is that the curved wall near the corner extend to the northwest of the sign so that the wall is level on all sides. So that the top of the wall is level on all sides.
That sounds good. Okay. I am fine with everything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. I only have one question. After you described that silver feather Japanese grass, it's indicated on this plan to be on the side closest to the corner, and I'm just concerned that if it does get as high as you said like 4 or 5 feet high,
Yeah, that's full maturity.
that it's going to end up blocking all the other work you're doing.
They're very thin and they're more of an accent, so they will be taller than some of the other plant material. The other plant material is going to be lower. So you almost it's going to have a staircase effect to it.
Okay, well, I'll leave it to the experts.
Does it droop?
It's not going to droop. It should stand straight up, but, the wind's going to constantly blow it around.
Okay, does it produce any type of, not, I don't want to use a flower, but something, that would make it go to seed or something?
Nothing's going to be blowing off of this.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about blowing off, but, sometimes if you let your grass grow, it starts to go to seed and it produces something that could almost resemble a flower or a different color from that.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. Just looking at the picture, the conditions as they exist today, and taking into consideration your drawing here, I don't know if you got room to put that rectangular planter box around both stanchions of the sign. So somehow we're going to have to be flexible to let them work with staff on the best way to box that off. Unless we're going to ask him to remove a curb that may be there and cut into his existing drive area to finish off the rectangle. So I'll ask Andrew to come up with some more language to permit that
So you're
planter box
saying
to
the
be
back
built.
end of, the back
Yeah,
end
the
of it?
northwest corner of that sign looks like it butts right up against, his drive for his concrete.
If the wall at the base, if the curved wall at the base is level all the way around, the rectangular box may be built up from that point. There may be, we can work with them to try to find the best way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect both of them to be level. The concern I'm raising is the northwest side of the rectangle might not be able to get behind that post. So, I wish you luck, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments?
Just unfortunately, Mr. Chairman,
Unfortunately.
looking at,
Isn't it time for you to go on another cruise?
looking at the picture, it looks like the southeast corner of the sign, the property kind of drops down
That's what you said.
fairly quickly. And I'm just wondering if, how we're going to state that it's 2 courses when the ground is sloping.
Minimum 2 courses, but to be level. So in other words, at the highest point, it'd have to be 2 courses. So in the front, it might be 3 courses
At the lowest point.
to keep the wall level.
Okay, so at the the highest point, the wall will be
Minimum
2 courses.
2 courses with a capsule.
And then in the front, it might need to be 3 or
Right,
whatever.
just to keep it level.
Okay, that I understand. Thank you.
We have that
That's-
in there? Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Am I wrong, or at the lowest point, it has to be a minimum of 2 courses, and it might actually be 3 or more to stay level as you...
The lowest point of the land, it would have to be several courses. The
Okay.
lowest point of the wall.
Okay.
The lowest thickness of the wall is going to be 2 courses plus a
Gotcha.
cap. So as you go downhill, it might be 3 or 4 courses. Okay. Any other discussion? Would you, Mr. Jennings, would you please read the conditions?
First, before the conditions, the motion had a blank in it for the date of the plan. The motion should be then updated to reference the plan view and the landscape block photograph submitted on February 9th. Condition number 1, that the corner bed include a label that it is to have an 8 to 12 inch unilock block border with a minimum height of 2 courses plus the cap. Number 2, that the rectangular planter box directly beneath the sign will be constructed of the same unilock material. Number 3, that plants larger than a perennial be increased 1 level in size so that they would be balled and burlapped as opposed to in buckets. And number 4, that the curved wall near the corner extend to the northwest of the sign so that the top of the wall is level on all sides.
On the planter box, the 2.5 foot was missing from it, height,
And that is 2.5
2.5 feet.
from the current grade. Is that the interpretation of that?
That's what I would interpret it as.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And just one other comment to Commissioner Dorban's question about the fence. I think we took it out, Commissioner Dorban, because it was all bent up from, I believe, snow plowing. And I don't think anything would last there. And that's why I believe we thought about, we took it out, because it was bent all to heaven on that. And I think they moved a lot of the snow there.
Thank you.
With those conditions, do I hear a motion?
Oh, do we need to note about the larger container size for the bushes?
Yeah, that was in there.
Is it, okay, I missed it.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Raffato, seconded by, was that Commissioner Schaaf?
Correct.
Commissioner Raffato, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Steilen?
No.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes,
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. We get done signing with this, there's going to be a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Mr. Burns?
Here you go. The docket number PC 12-8 and SCBA 12-9, Segerdal, 750 South Wolf Road. PC 12-8 is minor site appearance and approval, minor site plan and appearance approval, and SCBA 12-9 is appearance approval of sign. Mr. Jennings?
There are no additional staff comments at this time. I'll leave it to the petitioner.
Sir, would you give your name and address into the microphone?
Yes, my name is John President. I represent the general contractor. We're at 311 South Arlington Heights Road. I also represent the client, our client, Segerdal Group.
And would you tell us what you like to do?
Okay, on the picture on my left, your right up there, what we would like to do is add lit letters to that sign with a low-level LED light with a black background with silver letters similar to that, but a little bit taller. They'll be 20 inches in height, the black background. The initial letter inside will be 16 inches. We finally got a mock-up today. When they are lit at night, they will, the black background will look like a low-level white, not blue or any other color. It'll be white, just like a sheet of paper. On the example on my right, your left up there, that will be a canopy with the materials that were presented with our package. That'll be a simple canvas canopy with a aluminum frame system, which we have a plan from United Canvas and awning. They will extend from the building 6 feet. They will, that's an employee entrance. It's more for protection and to keep weather off the doors. There's an additional employee entrance on the left, my left again, with 4 doors, and that will be the same type of awning with the provided canvas, and it will just be wider than, of course, the other 1-door entrance, and it will cover that area, including the ADA entrance. On the west facade there, we are going to do a system similar to the main entrance, the existing entrance on the front. It's a metal structure that will be cantilevered out of the building instead. There will be no post coming to the ground. The steel, per the structural drawings that were provided, will be from floor to the trusses in the building. We will penetrate the thin part of the precast building to cantilever it out, very similar to a deck on a residential condominium building. It will come out, it will be a smaller version than the main entrance. It will not have lit letters, or actually it might have lit letters, I'm sorry. The letters should be also lit there, and they will be the same size. It will mirror the logo will mirror the other one on the front of the building, but will be considerably smaller because it's a smaller entry. It's a client vestibule where our client will bring in their clients into their business and show them around his tour. So what we'll have is actually a smaller version of the main entrance and then 2 canvas canopies that are aluminum frame and with the material provided.
Any additional information?
No.
Staff have any comments? We'll start with Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. Well, because you've already installed one of these on the east side of the building, I got a real life look at it this afternoon, and it looks good, and I think it would look good on the west side of the building as well. And good luck with the project. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
I have nothing further on this.
Commissioner Rafato.
Just the planters, in what we're looking at right here, the proposed customer entry. So those planters already exist? That's what here? So are those planters?
They're not at that vestibule yet, no. They're a stainless steel planter. They're custom made. They have a stainless steel insert, and they will change the foliage, like for Christmas naturally with the red and the evergreen, and then in the summer there'll be a live plant.
Okay.
But they will always be full based on season.
And then the employee entrance I see in the picture There's a planter there, is that going to stay there?
All the round?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, those were the existing ones that I believe were on the front of the building at one time, and then also at another entrance for another tenant. So they are going to stay there. Although there is one thing I'd like to bring up. There is a stop sign in front of that entry for those employees, and we will take any suggestions in terms of bollards and moving that sign for safety purposes.
Where, could you describe that again?
If you look to the left of the planter, there's that striped line coming
Yes.
out. There's an existing bollard there, and it looks like it wasn't even put in the ground. It was a temporary sign that was wrapped and attached to it. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to have a stop sign halfway through the employee entrance. So, the idea is that we were going to consider and probably listen to suggestions whether to move it completely out of the way or move it up, because that is kind of the pathway of traffic. when
Why don't you
people pull
just
around.
work with staff on that?
Okay.
I would suggest, or remove it.
Okay.
But to Chairman Maloney, I'd probably work with staff. That's all I had, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
I had nothing on this.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm going the other way.
Going the other way.
Commissioner Dorban.
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Stylen.
Looks real nice to me. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
And Commissioner Schaaf.
Looks good to me, thank you. Thank you.
I work with staff on that stop sign because it may or may not be required.
Okay, very well.
And if it is required, they'll give you the best
Or have
advice.
two of them, so they stop coming and, right. Okay, very well.
On PC 12-8, are there any conditions?
Just the one that was just mentioned, petitioner work with staff to relocate or remove the stop sign near the employee entrance.
Do I hear on PC 12-8, minor site plan and appearance approval of canopies? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, seconded by Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Dorban,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf,
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen,
Yes.
and Chairman Maloney.
Yes. On SCBA 12-9, approval of canopy signs. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry, are there conditions?
There are no conditions.
No conditions.
So moved.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Dorban,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf,
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney.
Yes. I have something for you to sign, and
Thank you very much for your time.
There should be a second copy of the PC docket coming up. Of the PC or SCBA? Coming? Okay. Is it worth it?
Sit back and enjoy.
Okay, calling docket number 2012-1A, B, C, and D, and PC 12-3, and SCBA 12-8. This is high-tech paintless dent removal, 1030 South Milwaukee Avenue. Mr. Rufato.
Alfred Stavros, attorney on behalf of Mark Circus. Property owner is seeking the following actions in order to redevelop a commercial property located at 1030 South Milwaukee Avenue. 2012 1A, rezoning a portion of the property from B3 General Commercial and Office District to I3 General Industrial District, and 2012 1B, variations from Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code of the following chapters: 19-06 Commercial Districts, Section 19.06.040, B3 General Commercial and Office District, Section D Lot Requirements, Chapter 19-06 Commercial Districts, Section 19.0640, B3 General Commercial and Office District, Section E Setbacks, Chapter 19-07 Industrial District, Section 19.07.040, I3 General Industrial District, Section E Setbacks, Principal Building, Chapter 19-07 Industrial District, Section 19.07.040, I3 General Industrial District, Section F Setbacks, Accessory Structures, Chapter 19-11 General Development Standards, Section 19.11.010, Section 8 Parking Standards, and associated sections, and 2012 1C. Special use plan approval is required under Chapter 19-07 Industrial Districts, Chapter 19-10 Use Regulations, and Chapter 19-12 Site Plan Approval Requirements and associated sections in order to establish a light motor vehicle repair facility in the I3 General Industrial District, and 2012 1D Special Use Plan Approval as required under Chapter 19-06 Commercial Districts, Chapter 19-10 Use Regulations, and Chapter 19-12 Site Plan Approval Requirements and associated sections in order to establish a light motor vehicle repair facility and a specialty school in the B3 General Commercial Office District. The zonings for a variation. A zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment to equalize regulations where Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning has created an unnecessary hardship. A variation is designed to allow affected property owners the same rights and privileges that others enjoy in the same zoning district. In order to be granted a variation, a petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Planning Commission at the public hearing why the request meets the conditions of the village code, including but not limited to how their individual situation is unique or unusual. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that their request for variation meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Planning Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board. And finally, the standards for a special use. The zoning special use as defined in Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning is a use of a parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to circumstances or effects on the surrounding properties that may adversely affect them. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Planning Commission at the public hearing why the request meets the conditions of the village code, including but not limited to how their proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that their request for a special use meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Planning Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board. Done.
That's it?
That's it.
Mr. Jennings, any comments?
two very brief comments. Number one, in the staff report under standard number 2 for the standards for standards for rezoning, there's an inconsistency. The word commercial is incorrect. There's a note of the comprehensive plan designation. It is in fact industrial. Elsewhere in the report, the references are correct. That particular one is incorrect. And then just for the Plan Commission, there are a couple of slides that staff has produced to illustrate the staff comments related to the sidewalk and water main. So if those questions arise later on during the hearing, we can provide an illustration at that time.
Mr. Stavros, is anyone else going to testify?
Yes, I have the owner here, Mr. Mark Turkish. If you have any questions of him, but I'm prepared to present my land use planner and landscape architect, Steve Lennett. I also have my engineer here, also my architect here to answer any questions.
Just to save time, could they all stand?
Sure.
And if you'd all raise your hand, this is a public hearing, do you all swear that everything you're about to tell us is the truth?
Yes.
Starting with Mr. Stavros, would you into the microphone, please give your name and business address one at a time, and then we'll start.
Alfred D. Stavros of Alfred D. Stavros & Associates, 433 North Milwaukee Avenue, Wheeling, Illinois. Mark?
Mark Serkis.
Into the microphone, please.
Mark Serkis, 600 Denoyer Trail, Wheeling, Illinois.
Scott Shelvis with Architectural Studios, 445 Uvedale Road, Riverside, Illinois. SHAL, Visa Victor IS.
Steve Lennett, I'm President LCT Design and Landscape Architect and Urban Planner with professional offices at 920 North Franklin Street, Chicago, Illinois.
Sir?
I'm sorry. L-E-N-E-T.
Walter Graft, Gaywalt Hamilton, Civil Consultant, 854 Sedge Drive, Vernon Hills.
Okay, thank you. We get that out of the way. Mr. Stavros.
Thank you. What I'd like to do is you already have the written statements for the special use as well as the petition for rezoning the property. I can capsulize it in a nutshell what we're trying to do, and then I'll turn it over to Steve Lennett to address the specific requirements and then proceed with the presentation of the architectural design and what we propose with the building, the second building. But we simply want to do at 1030 South Milwaukee. The property currently is zoned B3. It's almost 3 acres, and it's one building. It's currently the owner, Mark Turkis, bought the property, and he has a business that specializes in paintless stent repair. He has several offices throughout the Chicagoland area, but mostly he wants to concentrate his facility to be at this location. So what we propose under the B3 use is to use the existing structure as his office and also to do some light automotive repair and paintless dent repair. But basically to use that building mostly as an educational facility just to train his people, small classes of 5 people or less as needed, because it's a specialized art, paintless dent repair. There's no auto body paint, there's no repair per se, it's just pulling out dents, for example, from hailstorms. The second part of the property, we'd like to subdivide that and rezone that property under the I3 standard and put up a new structure, and there are drawings of the proposed building. That structure would be for a standard automotive repair, but also for auto body repair. That's what's required for that I3 use and also for the special use. The property's unique. We've worked with staff. There's been many comments. We've worked with the engineers and the architect to get what we think to be a suitable plan for the redevelopment of this property. We think it would be an asset to the village, and at this point I'd like to turn over to Steve Lennon.
Good evening. I'm going to run through the planning principles and what we're attempting to achieve with the redevelopment of the subject property. Following my presentation will be the project civil engineer and project architect. I'll finish up with the landscape design proposal for the site and then briefly go through the standards for the variation and special use. As you probably noted and are aware, this is a underutilized site. It is at a portion of the village, which is a gateway into the village. We think that the redevelopment proposal that we have before you is consistent with the village's long-range plans for the area and will upgrade this area significantly. This was an area that was originally developed in unincorporated Cook County. It is an area along Industrial Drive that is primarily serviced with septic and well, as is the subject property at the present time. We intend to improve the property fully with potable water and sanitary sewer, upgrade the landscaping. In terms of the subdivision, the easterly and existing portion of the building, we're creating a lot of approximately 1¼ acres. The rear property line, the west property line, was set to accommodate the rear yard of the B3 zoning classification. The newly created Lot 2 to the west is approximately 1.4 acres in total area. Will accommodate the new building and parking area. There's an area to the south of the new building which will be used for compensatory storage that Walter Graft can describe in greater detail if that's something the Plan Commission wants. We have provided a cross easement through the two properties so that additional traffic onto Industrial Lane or Milwaukee will be as minimized as possible. We are using the existing curb cut onto Milwaukee, so no new points of ingress or egress are being proposed for the development. There will be new signage for the site. We believe that this is consistent with the village's long-range plans for the area in terms of keeping the existing business zoning along the frontage of Milwaukee Avenue and then transitioning to the I-3 district to the west, which is noted on the earlier slide, is consistent with the adjoining zoning classifications to the west. So we believe that in all respects this is consistent with the village's long-range plans for the area. We think that it is a significant upgrade, especially given that this is a vacant property and has the potential to turn into something of an eyesore, frankly, at this location as a gateway into the village from the south along Milwaukee Avenue. So we think that in all respects this is a significant upgrading of the area and, again, consistent with the village's long-range plans. I'll come back at the end to go through the landscaping. I don't remember which slide is next, Andrew, whether it was the engineering or architecture. Then I'll come back at the end, go through the landscaping for you, and then the standards for the rationale for the variations and the special uses that we're requesting. I presume you'll hold your questions for all of us will be at the end.
When you get done.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Scott Shelvis, and we're proposing, this is just the building in the front, or Building 1, is basically just more of an interior remodeling. The exterior is remaining as is. We're proposing to upgrade the existing bathrooms to meet ADA requirements, as well as providing new equipment for the automotive repair, light repair, and then just basically upgrading the mechanical systems for the offices. In the proposed building number 2 is approximately 16,000 square feet, a single-story building, precast in glass. The precast would be a light sandblasted material, so that it's not going to be a painted material, so you won't have the maintenance issue of seeing it, painted and a year later being faded or flaking off. The large curved curtain wall follows more of the curve of the road itself. We're trying to keep the building as close to the street as possible to match that, to fill up that spot and follow the curve of the street. We are taking the shape of the building, we have what would be the dentless repair closer to Milwaukee Avenue, basically keeping the very clean portion of the building towards the Milwaukee Avenue and the existing building. Then we have the offices in between that, and then we have what they call the inspection area. It would be more of a drive-through where they actually have people come in, review the damage, give them a quote, and they can leave. The next portion would be the body shop, and then the finish repair, the paint shop, and detailing. So we're trying to move from a very clean space and going back towards the I-3 with the more of the body shop, the heavier work. And if you have any questions, we're glad to answer them at the time.
Good evening, Walter Graft, Gewalt Hamilton. Andrew, could you slide me back to that one, the color?
There we go.
That one. I didn't see in the slides anything about the utility plan in there. I do have a large one there if we want to get into that much detail. On this drawing here, the yellow or mustard colors the existing building, the light gray on the eastern side of it, and to the south of it is the existing parking lot that we're going to save and salvage. The darker gray parking field is new pavement, and the darker green around it is our proposed landscaping area. The lighter green to the north side is actually the right-of-way, the ditch in the right-of-way. The existing drainage and a storm sewer. Currently the existing parking lot, the light gray areas, has some storm sewer in it. The rear portion of on the south side of the existing building actually drains to Milwaukee Avenue. There are two existing drainage structures on the north side of the building that drain to the industrial lane. The remaining portion of the existing lot sheet drains to industrial lane as well. Under our proposed improvements, we're maintaining the existing drainage paths. The existing drainage for the existing parking will follow the same method. The new parking lot will be collected in a new storm sewer system, which will discharge to the existing industrial lane to the north. And the large green area in the southern portion is where we're doing our account storage, which I'll discuss later on. The existing building on Lot 1 is currently serviced by an existing well and an existing septic field. The existing septic field is located in the dark green section paralleling Milwaukee Avenue. The well is on the south side of the existing building. With our new proposed building, we are looking to service that with an existing off-site potable water and sewer system, which is actually located on the Chicago Executive Airport's property, which is just approximately 200 feet north of industrial lane behind the Mayco building, which is just north of us there. We're looking at extending it through or around. We're working with the village on methods of getting access to it, bringing it in to service our new building and also replace our existing building's septic and well system. For drainage and detention, we actually are not required to provide detention under the village's ordinance or under MWRD's due to the size of the lot. But we will be, since the project site resides in a floodplain area, we're not in the 10-year flood, but we're below the 100-year flood elevation. Any filling within the 10 to 100 year, we will have to provide comp storage on site at a 1.5 ratio. So we've designed the parking lot to provide a maximum of 1 foot of ponding over the structures. We've used a little bit of comp storage along the north property line in front of the new building, and then the majority of the comp storage was provided in the rear grass area behind the new building. And that is it.
At this moment.
Landscaping?
Having anticipated the last presentation, I brought examples of what we are proposing to do with the landscaping. Essentially, the proposal for the landscaping is to the greatest extent possible to use native grasses and annuals and perennials throughout the site. They use the least amount of water, as you're probably aware, and we're using those areas in both the compensatory storage area as well as in the front of the existing building along Milwaukee Avenue. The right-of-ways, especially along Milwaukee, it's under IDOT control. They will not allow us to plant trees or anything other than salt-resistant grass. We'll continue to try to work with them to extend the natural landscape into those areas to the extent that we can. Internally, we're providing additional landscaping using predominantly native plant materials to minimize the impact. In all cases, we are utilizing salt-resistant plant materials throughout the development. And we think that this has broken up the parking lot. It's consistent with your ordinances and long-range plans. We think that actually the landscaping as we're proposing it exceeds your ordinances, but it is, we believe, the appropriate and right thing to do for the site. With respect to the variations that we are requesting, they are a direct function of the site that we are given to work with in the geometry of the site. As you're aware, the site curves as it goes west along Industrial Avenue and narrows, so that we are very constrained in terms of our ability to provide the setbacks for both the building and the parking in that area. We think that beautifying that with the building that's proposed as well as the landscaping, that the variations will not cause any adverse impact on any of the uses either existing or reasonably anticipated in that area, that it is an upgrade of the area, that the variations are caused by the physical constraints of the site and not by anybody who has an interest in the site, nor is it the rationale is based on a desire to make more money from the site, but rather to utilize the site in a way that is consistent with the underlying zoning and long-range plans for the area. With respect to the special uses, we think that they are consistent with the village's long-range plans for the area for the continuation of the B3 and the uses that are permitted in special uses in the B3, that it's an upgrade of the area, that it will not impact the normal and orderly development of that area, that access has been provided and is not changing, so that will not be any adverse impact in terms of ingress and egress to the site, and that in all other respects it will meet all the ordinances of the Village of Wheeling. So we think that in all respects this is a really good development for this site. We are really anxious to get started. We are, as has been noted earlier, we are bringing sewer and water to the site. We're working with the village to do that, but we think that that's really a significant benefit to this area in all respects, and we think that it's the right thing to do given the uses that we are proposing for the site. So we are available to answer any questions that you may have of any of the experts here or Mr. Tsirkis, the owner and user of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go any further, Mr. Jennings, you want to explain why the whole lot is designated B3 when normally we only go back so many feet from Milwaukee Avenue?
Sure.
Because part of this is dividing it from B3 to B3 and I3.
Let me see if I can find, there we go. In 2005, the village undertook a comprehensive rezoning at the same time as a comprehensive update to the zoning code. And the idea at that time, while this area had been annexed in 2004, I believe, following the 2003 comprehensive plan, what was anticipated in 2003 during the comprehensive plan was industrial. The entire area is shown in the future land use plan as being industrial. Following the annexation later in 2005, the idea, as Mr. Lennet referred to, was to try to continue the retail, office, commercial character of Milwaukee Avenue to the extent possible along Milwaukee. And the target depth for that was in the ballpark, I believe, of 250 feet. The zoning district line at that time was designed to go around properties rather than straight through them. So the line that you have right now is following the property lines closest in the ballpark of 250 feet to avoid split lot zoning.
Right. If I may very quickly, part of it was that this is one lot of record. It's part of the reason that we are subdividing it. It would have been improper on the part of the village to split the zoning of a single parcel of land. So
That's what I was trying to get at. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak? Is there anyone? Okay, with that, I'm going to first go to staff and start off with engineering. Do you have any comments?
As Walter already spoke of, the properties, and probably about 80% of the properties in the floodplain. The existing building, any improvements to the existing building, you cannot do more than 50% of the market value of the building. Otherwise, it would need to be brought up into a floodplain compliance. I don't think they'll be over that, but documentation will need to be submitted.
Excuse me, any additions or any improvements?
Any improvements, since it is located in the floodplain.
Okay.
And the water main, it's not shown as a loop system. That would need to be constructed as a loop system. There's also hydrants off the fire lines, and that's not allowed per code. It needs to be two separate services, a fire service and a domestic service.
Mr. Graywell, I have this slide up on the water main. You want to just briefly go over what the staff suggestion was on this?
Sure. And I've worked with Walter, the engineer, and submitted this to him and shown this is what we would probably be more likely to be looking at as far as the water main. On the north side of Mako, on airport property, there's an existing 12-inch water main, and that's the water main that they would be tying into. It's currently a dead-end water main. So they would extend the water main down Milwaukee Avenue right away, as well as along the frontage of their property on Industrial Lane. From there, they would need to tie it back into the existing water main and loop the water main. This is more for fire department for fire flows around the proposed building, and it would also provide fire protection to the existing building. And then, as what they have shown currently, they have shown the water main on the north side of Industrial Lane. So now it would need to be relocated to the south side. So they would have to revise the sanitary sewer, which that's something that can easily be done in final engineering. Do we have anything else? Oh. As one other comment, the sidewalk along Industrial Lane, staff looked at this and we came up with 3 options. See if I can remember all these. The first option is to install a sidewalk along Industrial Lane as well as Milwaukee Avenue, basically along the frontage of the properties. The second option is to install the sidewalk along Milwaukee Avenue and provide monies into the sidewalk fund for the sidewalk along Industrial Lane. Or the third option is to construct the sidewalk along Milwaukee Avenue all the way to the existing bridge over the Buffalo Creek. And that's what we'd prefer to see. Currently, there's ditches along Industrial Lane, and anytime you fill in anytime you're filling in the floodplain, you have to provide comp storage, and it gets rather costly to construct sidewalk along the Industrial Lane. I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
Some of the things that we have reported in our staff report, which I apologize, it just came out today. Both of the structures to be sprinklered. We have a issue with the interior storage of trash dumpsters. We would prefer to see those outside, but if the petitioner wants those inside, there's an alternative as far as a fire-resistant room that we would allow. Couple things that were not in their original information. We're looking for some information on total quantities and types of some of the hazardous materials, paints and some of that type of material that they'll be using. And there is regarding one of my comments about the fire lane along the south side of Building 1, probably could have been a little clearer with that, but that will affect the parking spaces that are in that area, because the fire lane is required to be 18 feet wide, and I believe it's 13 and a half feet wide is what they're showing from curb to parking lot line.
Could you just repeat which one you're referring to there?
Building 1, from the front of the building, up going towards the west.
On the south side?
On the south side.
Got it.
That there, the angled parking there. The review item was number 8 for the structure, or the utilities and the site. That was one of the fire lanes we would be looking for access to the site, and it would be posted as a fire lane, so it would have to meet the requirements for the width of a fire lane, which is 12 feet plus 5 feet on either, 12 feet paved and 5 feet on total from both sides, for a total of 18 feet. That can be another surface. I did my math wrong, though. 3 feet on either side.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Could you just go over the refuse again, what you said about that?
Right. The petitioner in the drawings, the architecturals, have a little blurb that they want the trash dumpsters inside the structure. We have not previously had that in any of the other similar type of facilities in town, and due to the nature of the combustibles, the potential for spontaneous combustion, we would prefer them to be outside of the building. But if the petitioner specifically wants that and has a very driving desire to do that, if they were to build a 2-hour rated room, in other words, we would control it within a small space within the building that would be sprinklered like the building, then we would accept that as an alternative.
Thank you. Anything else? Do you want to comment on?
Yes. We will continue clearly to work with the fire department. It's a life safety code, so there's no question that we'll continue to work with them and make the adjustments as necessary. I would like to comment on the sidewalks, however. If we can go back to the slide, we are extremely reluctant to put a sidewalk in the ditch. It's expensive, it affects the drainage, it affects the amount of compensatory storage. It's a sidewalk that goes from nowhere to nowhere. That's an alternative that we really are not comfortable with at all.
This is the image you're referring to?
Yes. Okay. With respect to the other alternative running sidewalk along Milwaukee, again, it's a sidewalk that goes from nowhere to nowhere, and we're not sure functionally what the value or the purpose of it is, but it's not a deal breaker for us. The sidewalk in the ditch is a real problem.
If I could just interject, the staff report goes into this very briefly. The idea, speaking to the engineering division and the planning division on this, was that the range of options related to the industrial lane sidewalk is pretty much limited to the contribution allowed by our code or the construction. What we were suggesting on this was rather than make a contribution based on the value of this sidewalk, which would be extreme, the contribution in lieu of construction on that would be extremely expensive. That's where the suggestion. That's where the suggestion for this came from. The utilities that are being extended to this property are going to require this area to be torn up, and the suggestion from staff was in the restoration following that, go with the sidewalk here as opposed to the construction or contribution on the other.
Again, this is not a deal breaker. We'd rather restore it with landscaping. And I'm not thrilled about running a sidewalk through my lovely landscaping plan either, but as I said, this isn't a deal breaker. I just question from a planning standpoint the functionality of about 550 feet of sidewalk from nowhere to nowhere. I think the landscaping is far more appropriate there. We'll do restoration with landscaping on the north end of Industrial Drive and that right away. And I think that that's a greater benefit, frankly, to the village than a couple hundred feet of sidewalk that goes nowhere. And in all likelihood will never go anywhere.
Let's start with Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. To your last point, I think to the north there is a sidewalk. You can walk over that bridge and the sidewalk does continue north from there, does it not?
There is a gap. There is a sidewalk on the bridge. There's a gap between the bridge and the bus shelter. There's a bus shelter at the south side of Hintz. Is it in front of the inn? In front of Public Storage?
Public Storage.
Okay. So there's a bus shelter, and there is a gap that would be left that the village obviously would be planning to install in the gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'd love to see a sidewalk up and down Milwaukee Avenue. If it's your preference to make a contribution to the sidewalk fund that the village can use as they see fit, we can talk about that, but there's a real need for a sidewalk there, and if you drive down Milwaukee Avenue very often in that spot, you'll see how many bicycles are on that road that would be a lot safer on a sidewalk. As far as some other issues, first of all, I guess this is a beautiful looking building, and I really hope to be able to bring it to fruition, and it would be an improvement to the village.
Thank you.
There are several issues, and let me talk about a few that I highlighted. From the staff report, I understand that there needs to be parking for 12 bicycles in this project, and right now you've got plans for 10. So there's a couple different ways of reaching the code on that. One is to allow bicycle parking inside the building. One is to, I'm sure, expand your bike rack outside the building. I'm assuming that you'd be agreeable to meet the standard on bicycle parking.
We'll make that adjustment.
Okay. We talked about the sidewalks, and I'm sure there's going to be more discussion about that. My main issue with this plan is that the setbacks, the size of the building on this lot, and I see your constraints in this oddly shaped lot on a curving street. But if the building could be downsized, you'd have more room for parking in it. And from the fire department report, it looks like you're losing more parking spaces on the south side of building 1 because they need that for a wide enough fire lane.
I'm not sure that what we're dealing with here is the economics, frankly, of the site, where there's an enormous expenditure to bring the sewer and water to this site. As a result of that, we need to maximize the utilization of this site to the greatest degree possible. We think that the variations that we are asking for, given the aesthetics of the building and the amount of landscaping that we are proposing to put into this offset the modest variations that we are asking for, especially when you look at the condition of Industrial Avenue. We think that this is setting an excellent precedent for future development and redevelopment of that area. It's really, it's not pretty, you know. And these improvements are significant and costly. So we think that we really believe that it's important that we get the maximum utilization of this site possible. Again, I don't want to beat this to death, but we think the variations are relatively modest, and they are, again, given the curvature of the site and the need to provide compensatory storage, we're really being squeezed here. So that's why we believe that the proposal before you is reasonable and necessary.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's always a balancing act, and
yes, it is.
Another thing that you don't want and we don't want is for your business to not have enough parking for the amount of traffic you're going to have. And if you go down Industrial Lane today, you'll see how many cars and trucks are double parked on that street. It's already a problem before you even move in. Let me just make sure I didn't forget one of the questions I had. The setbacks on the north and northwest, those would be setbacks to the road, right?
To the property line.
Property line.
Right away line, so.
Okay. But on the north and northwest, you got Industrial Lane, so I don't have a problem personally granting a variance on that. That's all I have for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. As far as the zoning, I don't see any issues on that. Setbacks, yeah, we probably could do something there. But I understand the shape of the lot and everything. I had one like this in my past. How many employees and staff do you have, or are you planning to have, obviously?
Plan to have between 20 to 30.
Please talk into the microphone.
Plan to have between 20 to 30 employees in there.
And then your students?
That's including the students.
Is that like a regular curriculum that they have? That they're there for a week to learn this? Or?
For a month, 2 months at a time.
Okay.
And the school isn't going to be advertised, like some, training school. The school's only going to be there when he needs to train new employees. So it isn't like it's going to be a 24/7, 364. So when he needs new employees, then he has to school them. It's an art.
Oh, okay. So you're only training your own employees.
Yes,
you're not spreading this art. Okay. Is there fencing going to be all around this property? Or
No.
none at all?
No, we're providing landscaping in all of the green spaces and around the property. And we think there had been fencing here that was just
Oh, yeah,
always.
the stuff that's there now is terrible. Normally, you see auto body places, they have everything fenced in because they don't want anybody.
Well, that goes back to part of what Mr. Burns was raising earlier. We need to be able to store these cars inside as well, so that there's no outdoor storage, so we don't have to go to industrial-looking fencing to secure the site if we can avoid that.
Okay, good. It's a nice-looking building. I wish it was on the Milwaukee Avenue end of the property. The last thing on our list of items here is the sign. There's really no detail on that sign. Do you have anything additional, Andrew?
The staff suggestion on that was to table it to bring back further detail. We have just Just a couple of questions listed in the staff report. I don't know if you had a chance to review that part of the staff report.
No.
But the landscaping plan for this sign would need to be matched up with the landscaping plan for the site so that they're consistent. There was a question on the display panel on that as well. So there's a couple of questions that staff had requested that be tabled so that we can work that out.
Okay. I think that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Rufano.
Thank you. So, I was going to ask about gates, but since you're not going to have fences, you're obviously not going to have gates. The area, looking at this picture that we have up here, and I guess that would be the northwest corner where the building bends there. There's this gray area, and I'm trying to determine what that is. Is that an entrance?
Those are overhead doors, yes.
Overhead doors.
Driveways to it.
Okay, driveways to that. So
Right.
then that is, so the one along Industrial Lane is also a industrial door?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you pull in that way. I just couldn't figure out the concept here. So is there?
The rendering may be easier on
Pardon?
that. The rendering of that may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me see if I
Okay.
can.
We're proposing more of the glass doors, and those would be at those two, the main, or that area in the center.
Okay.
There we go. There's the shot.
There, that's, okay.
That would be the center area here. Those doors would be the same as these two doors. What it is you have different.
Could you come over to the microphone, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
The body shop and the paint shop, they want to have it so that even though we have interior access, we don't want to have something that's going from, that might be slightly dirty going to something clean, or vice versa. After you paint the car, after it's all finished, you don't want to have it driving through someplace that's going to get dirty again. So that was the reason for the exits.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
If I can, this also is in part to some of the earlier questions. You can see with the amount of glass and the glass doors, I mean, we're really working away from a just industrial look here and making it as light and airy, albeit more expensive than just an industrial building.
So then, I was just thinking those two areas for snow removal. Just the one driveway along Industrial, and then the one at the curb. Will you have enough space to remove the snow that's in that area? Because what is is that a curb around, where it's black right now? If you could go back to Andrew, that, okay, so you've got where the overheads are. Is that curbs, the black area, the outline?
Yes,
Okay, so concrete curbs.
yes.
Okay, so then, okay. So then taking that, so you push, I guess you push snow
Exactly.
that way, and, okay, and that way.
Correct.
So then, taking that further, you've got some islands in the parking lot, by building 2. Is that, those are concrete curbs also around those islands where there's plantings?
Yes, but we'll push snow into there as well. All the plant material has specifically been selected to be salt resistant. So we have no concerns about pushing the snow into those landscape areas.
Okay, so then, so this is where, the new building is where all of the main work is going to be, correct? And I guess what I'm confused about is a special use for a school.
If it is in fact strictly for the training of employees, I suppose we can drop that name from that special use. If the special use would then just be for light auto repair in the front building and the school would be dropped. So
It's painless dent repair, and what it is that, he dispatches employees or crews throughout the United States when there's hailstorms, Southwest, wherever, and they take up residence. Well, these guys have to be trained.
Oh, okay.
And so he isn't training people to compete against them.
No, right.
So the school, we say school, it could be an academy, whatever you want to call it, but he's going to have a portion designated in the building to have a mock-up paintless dent repair and show people, his people, how to do this.
Would it be more applicable to call it a training room?
Could be, training room, yes, that's fine.
That changes the whole picture.
I guess from the aspect of what the owner just said, I wouldn't think of it as a school if he's just training his own employees to go on. I think of a school as something where you're going to train some folks to go out and either start their business or start in another business.
Like the Allstate.
No, this isn't, he's not in the business of, creating competition for himself. So what he wants to do, he has a unique, and he's very unique at what he does, and in fact, the competition throughout the United States as to who's the number one painless dent repair, and I think he won an award as being the number one and number two guy in the United States a couple of years ago. So it takes time to train someone to do this. This isn't something like you can do it in a day. Sometimes it takes months to have a person master this art. So, but they're just his people, but it's going to be a training area in the building.
I think just to explain on the staff side, we'd rather publish a public hearing in a conservative way than inconvenience the petitioner. So at this point, if there's general understanding that this is not a school to the general public and it's training for employees, I believe we can drop that from this point forward.
Okay, thank you. I didn't think it was necessary. Okay, so then you've got this building here that's going to hold 10 or 20 people, or 20 to 30, depending upon how many there are being trained. The front building, that's a big building. I don't understand its use.
Isn't the front where the training's going to be?
The front building's going to be offices, it's going to be light automotive repair, and a paintless dent repair with the training in there. That's what it's going to be. Paintless dent repair with a training room area.
Okay. And then.
But the second building also is going to be used for paintless dent repair, also automotive repair and body shop. That's the new building. That's the second building.
The employee count, the 20 to 30, is both buildings together.
Buildings together, okay. So, and right now, if I counted correctly, there's 64 spots in the second building, and then 40.
Parking spots?
Yeah, 63 stalls, and then 47. Is that correct? So 101 in total? I was just trying to, if I'm reading that correctly. Front building is 63. Requirements, Lot 1 will have 64. Total requirements for proposed use in the rear building is 85. And so are we short? I'm not quite sure.
Well, our tally, so that we're clear, is 157 spaces total for the two sites.
157 parking spaces.
157, correct.
Indoor and outdoor.
Indoor and outdoor.
Indoor and outdoor. But you're not going to have any vehicles that are going to be worked on stored outside?
That's
Not overnight, correct.
Not our intention.
Okay. You just said two different things, not our intention and not overnight. So I wanted to be clear. So we're not going to have anything, one, because you're not going to have any fences, so it's
Correct.
going to be, yeah.
It's going to be indoor storage of the cars.
Okay. So what are the hours of the business?
8 till 6, 8 till 7, Monday through Friday, and
Monday through
9 till
Friday.
4 on Saturday.
Okay.
Closed Sundays.
Close Sunday. Okay. So if we could, okay, then that's reasonable for a business. Okay. Still, for 20 people, that's a lot of that's a lot of building for. It's a lot of building for 20 to 30, and most likely you won't have that at all times because, you know, I assume it goes in cycles when you're training people. That's interesting. Okay. You heard the fire department talk about the refuse. Have you thought about what you're going to do there?
We're going to work with the fire department and solve this as quickly as possible.
Okay, because
I don't know the exact answer yet.
Okay, because if it comes outside, there has to be.
We need to screen it, and I
We
understand.
need to screen that, so that's going
Not
to
a
have to come
problem.
back before us or something, and
Not a
we can
problem.
work through that. Okay. Then, landscaping. I know you had a nice color landscape plan up there somewhere that you glanced right exactly. Would have been nice if this one would have been in color, but I can understand.
I just got this done several hours ago.
So, on the south side of the property line, the south side, yes. By the parking area in the front, there looks like there's a whole bunch of scrub trees and things like that. Whose is that?
I'm not, honest to God, I'm not sure. We're going to have to just spot those when we start doing final engineering and work on the site. Generally speaking, because it is really scrub vegetation, it tends to be indiscriminate with respect to property lines. I mean, yeah, if they are on our property, we're going to remove them. They are a problem, they're a hazard, they are very weak wood trees, they are subject to disease,
Right.
so our plan is to get rid of them.
Okay. Yeah, because it doesn't look good. Now, what's the islands for the landscaping in the back? Those are going to be sprinkled?
No, at least that's not my intention at this point. We'll have bibs and we'll, initially with the installation, they'll be watered by a truck. The landscape contractor will water them initially with a truck. The trees will have gator bags to provide landscaping. The native grasses after a while, because as you may be aware, their root system goes down 14 to 18 feet. So they need, it's xeriscaping, they need very little maintenance and watering. So after the first year, our anticipation is that it will need relatively little maintenance, but because of the extent of the landscaping that's involved here, they'll need to have a landscape contractor come in for long-term maintenance and just to take care of this. So at those times, it'll be watered.
So none of this,
taken care of.
none of the landscaping is going to be irrigated?
That's not my intention at this point.
Anything close, why not close to the building? You're right there with the landscaping around the building. And I believe it's part of one of our requirements, isn't it, to have our landscaping irrigated?
The code requirement.
The code requirement.
Is something that has been waived, I think, 2 times for fully native plantings.
Well, I think that deserves further consideration.
I'm certainly willing to look into that. We can put a kind of a drip irrigation system in there where appropriate and necessary.
Where is it at? Okay. Where's my notes? I did that. Okay. I drove by today. Since you're going to be redoing you're going to be putting in all new asphalt. The front the front of Building 1. Why don't we just scrape that and put down a new layer of asphalt there? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. And don't forget your handicap signs, they still say $100, which, you know, if you're in there right now, they say $100 and they're $250. But the building, you know, I know it's two separate buildings, but it's such a contrast. There's that front building, there has to be multiple additions on that thing, right?
Well, my dad built it.
So you probably know then.
The building was originally built as a John Deere Jeep
Right,
dealership.
I remember that, yeah.
Okay. We put an office on, which is a little appendage to the north, and at the same time we built the building, we put a paint shop on the back with high doors in the back so we could paint our equipment. So we had 14-foot doors, and it was a solid brick cinder block building in the back.
Okay.
So that was all constructed at one time. The office was kicked out about 5 years after we put the building. The building was built in about 1959. And the office was put in '63.
Okay, so you're not doing anything, you're not changing any of the overhead doors on the outside and that?
Well, whatever the design that the architects imposed, I mean, we
For for building number 1?
No, we know we can't do 50% more of the improvements because it's in the floodplain area. So the improvements, as what you see, is mostly going to be what's done on the inside, and the outside is the facade's not going to change.
It's not going to be repainted or anything?
Well, it's all been repainted now. It's all white. I mean, if you go by, you'll see it.
It's white, yeah. I see that it's white.
Not a mark on it.
Right, okay. All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Doraband.
Thank you. I hate to keep laboring this issue with the fence, but on the design here, it shows that there is a chain link fence with barbed wire.
That's the existing.
Okay, so that will be removed.
That's our plan at this time, yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that that's noted somewhere. Does the company have company trucks?
Yes, we do.
Where will
Yes,
they
we do.
be stored?
We're planning on storing few of them at the property.
So they would be outside?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many trucks do you have?
We have a few trailers, as you see on one of the pictures there. So a couple of trailers and maybe 5 to 10 cars.
Okay, so we'd have 5 or 10 cars, plus a couple trailers that,
But that's seasonable. Sometimes we're going to take them, sometimes we're going to bring them. So it's not going to be stored there all the time.
okay.
So they,
Well, how many, well, I guess what I'm getting at is how many parking spaces are you going to utilize with these vehicles?
5 to 10.
5 to 10, okay.
Just so there's no confusion, if he has a storm, a hailstorm, let's say in Kansas, he'll dispatch his crews there, and there won't be any vehicles in that parking lot or a trailer. They'll be out in Kansas, and they'll be there for months until that work is all done, until they need to do any paintless dent repair. So they basically, you know, it's a demand-driven business, and it's weather-driven. So when you see these hailstorms throughout the country, you know, auto repair stores throughout the country will contact him, and that's what he does. He's a specialist in it, and that's where they go. So that's how this works.
Well, I guess I'm trying to make sure that when the vehicles are there, the trucks are on the property, that we have enough parking.
Well,
I
and
guess
again,
that-
not to confuse you, if he has a crew that's dispatched in Kansas, and they're working, and all of a sudden there's another hailstorm, and it's in Arizona, then they go from Kansas to Arizona.
No, I understand.
So they won't be
that-
back to Chicago.
I understand that, you know, they move around, but I'm thinking at some given point, they could all be there. And so I just don't want to.
We believe that the zoning ordinance parking requirement takes all of that into consideration. And so we are providing parking that at a peak time will be adequate.
Okay. I just want to make sure we've got enough parking. We've had parking issues within the village, so. I thought it was interesting, not that it's
Okay.
relevant, but a private gym is going to be inside the building. I find that fascinating.
Yes.
So The owner is very health-oriented, so he does have a private gym, and it's for, very important for him, so.
So it's only going to be for him or?
Him
for
or probably
employees?
some of his employees,
Oh,
but
okay. I just thought it was interesting to read. I too have a little bit of an issue with the irrigation of the landscaping. It does appear you're putting an awful lot into this. I would hate to have you lose it and have to replace it. So I have some concerns about that. And it seems like we've pretty much addressed everything that Mr. Gray put in here. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too share a concern with the irrigation concept. There's going to be a lot of green space and sod space, and I believe that per our code, those areas should be.
You all talked me into it. We'll irrigate it.
Right.
I do have a question, Andrew, on the little zoning map that you have, and on the site plan, the area immediately west of the new Lot 2, I guess I'll call it. There's a little thin piece that's going to remain I3 with or B3 with a lot behind it, and on the site plan, it appears to be, now I'm not sure if this is it or not, but there's something called exception.
The property was subdivided off at some point. I don't know the year of that. Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't. That seems to be an easement of some kind, and that's what the exception is. It's not our property. It's not on our title report or survey.
Is that property wide enough? Because it looks like that lot that it's connected to doesn't have any frontage or road access.
That's why I think that it's an easement. That's why I believe it's an easement.
And
yeah.
Is that the right, whatever it is, that width, is it big enough to provide a driveway or something, access to that property?
Apparently. As I said, I don't know, as we sit here tonight, exactly the dimensions of that. This was all part of the creation in the county, and as was noted, it's a flag lot. It's 30 feet. Oh, so that's fine. That's more than adequate for two-way traffic.
Okay. And I guess it's not usable, it's not really developable property in any way, shape, or form.
Other than for ingress, egress, right.
Perspective, okay. So in actuality, that little lot itself in its entirety could be E3, and that the access.
Yeah, that's right, it's right, yeah.
Anything, okay.
Andrew, do you have an aerial photo of that?
Yeah, I have an aerial photo of it. And
isn't there?
I don't know if it was subdivided off or if it was sold off meets and bounds, but it's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not part of, sorry, I'm going down, I should be going up. Not part of the subject property. That is this.
That's what this thing is over here, right.
And it looks like there is something back there on that lot.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like it's connected. I've driven back here. It looks like it is connected to this building, but I'm not.
Okay.
They have a sign there saying you can buy firewood back there.
Yes, sir.
On the next building to the west of that, that's part of Rudnick's property.
Who?
Rudnick, the construction company.
Okay.
They have a building off Milwaukee.
Okay.
Right behind, they're not the first building on Milwaukee, they're the second building there.
All right.
And that's their property.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to confirm, your intent is to not have any outside storage of vehicles currently under repair or in the state of wanting to be repaired will not be stored outside, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then I have a question for Andrew. If at some point in time these two separate lots are ever sold independently, are the parking requirements satisfied for each building independently, or do they need to be collectively parking shared between buildings?
Right now, the subdivision plat that's attached to this petition does include access. I don't know if, off the top of my head, if it specifically says that they are cross-parked.
The answer to your hypothetical would be a function of what the future use was. So it may have a parking requirement on Lot 2 that is less than the parking requirement under the current proposal. So it's difficult to tell, and at that point, they would have to come back before you if it didn't meet code for some kind of relief. I anticipate that any knowledgeable buyer would have a zoning contingency on their contract to purchase the site if that ever happened.
So let me try and phrase the question a little bit differently. Can the parking for your Lot 1 building be completely satisfied by the parking that is on Lot 1?
I think that's the answer. Lot 1 is fine, yeah.
And Lot 2?
Lot 2 we are sharing parking with Lot 1.
Okay.
So Lot 1 has excess parking.
Then one of the things that I would like to see if that's true, can we create some kind of cross-access agreement or cross?
It's on there. We've done that. Right. We've done
Agreement
that.
such that a future purchaser could be.
Correct. Correct.
Excellent, thank you. And then comes down to sidewalk. I understand your plight of being very expensive, although we've made, I'll say, drastic improvements to Industrial Lane to try and make it a lot better than it has been in the past. I do understand your predicament, and I would be willing to accept a donation to the sidewalk fund for your entire distance of sidewalk that needed to be created, such that we could provide a sidewalk for some other business in town that maybe didn't have as many problems as your site does. So that would be something that I would be willing to offer, but it has to be the entire linear distance of sidewalk that we owe. And if they wanted to install a section northbound of Industrial up to the creek, it seems like that's a lot shorter than their existing linear footage. So, they could probably deduct that from the value, from the stuff that they install, but still make a contribution on the rest.
The difficulty here is the likelihood is there's never going to be a sidewalk in that ditch. You would need to provide compensatory storage for it. You'd have to fill it.
I understand, but what I'm saying is you can't provide it even though you're supposed to. So we'll take the money that you could have installed it for, which is, I don't know, $10 a foot or something like that. And we'll just donate it to some other business in town that could use a sidewalk. That's what the sidewalk fund is for.
No, I understand it. My understanding is that the staff recommendation was either A or B, either along Milwaukee or along Industrial. So we picked,
Well, I think they said,
we'll pick B.
I think A was around your entire property. B was along Milwaukee. And
Right, so we would like to pick door B.
I understand, but the linear footage of
Well,
sidewalk you would be installing.
that's one of the variations that we have asked for, is a variation from that sidewalk. And the hardship is the ditch.
I understand. And
Okay,
I'm not
all right.
asking you to install a sidewalk in the ditch.
Okay.
All I'm asking you to do is make a contribution to the sidewalk fund.
And the
for that.
staff suggestion here was to find the most cost-effective solution that also resulted in the greatest benefit. And that's
fine.
If
That's
that's
fine.
the,
We'll make a contribution.
That's fine.
Let's talk to Mark.
That's
works
fine.
good. Contribution, we'll keep the landscape the way we like it, and then we'll just contribute to the sidewalk. Looks good.
You understand what the contribution is?
I don't understand the exact dollar amount, but I understand the principle involved, yes.
Mr. Gray, would you let them know what the contribution is before they agree to it?
Yeah, it's $10 per square foot of sidewalk, or if it costs more than $10 to install it, it's that cost. So you would actually have to come up with an engineer's estimate of how much the comp storage for like EarthX or placement of fill material.
that is why the staff suggestion was
Correct. So it may end up being a little bit more than $10 square foot.
And that is why the staff suggestion was just to go to the Milwaukee side.
Yeah, we can live with it.
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
Yeah, $150,000 isn't reasonable for a sidewalk contribution. I don't know how you guys are computing this, but in my head, and we just talked with the engineer, that's not fair. And we're willing to pay money, but I don't think we're going to be able to pay that much.
And this is the staff suggestion for that reason.
Okay, well, we can live with, as I said, the Milwaukee Avenue alternative is fine.
Right, I mean.
And that's reasonable.
Yeah, if you want us to put the sidewalk there, and I have to agree with Mr. Leonard, I've been in this town my whole life, I don't see that sidewalk ever getting completed. It's sidewalk to nowhere, then that's what you want, fine. But I think asking for $100 and some thousand for a contribution is not reasonable.
Okay, and again, my suggestion is, and like I say, I'll forego the ditch problem and just say whatever the linear footage of their property in a normal, flat kind of area, that linear footage of sidewalk should be made available to somebody else that has flat property. So I would base the cost on the flatness and not on the having to do it in this particular unique situation.
Can that be done, Mr. Gray?
Yeah, that's easily accomplished.
So that's an option.
The village
You get two
attorney give
options.
us that authority?
You get three options.
Okay.
Don't do it, do Milwaukee Ave or pay to the fund for the Milwaukee Ave frontage and Industrial Lane frontage.
Well, maybe we can reach an accord on that with staff down the road, and when it comes to that point, either we put the sidewalk in along Milwaukee Avenue, or we pay money in an amount that the village will agree to. But I think $150,000 is reasonable. If we can come to the settlement down the road, we will put a sidewalk in or pay money. We know we'll do one or the other.
Thank you.
Are you done?
Well, I'm glad somebody will put a sidewalk in somewhere, or we'll pay some amount of money, but I would like to know exactly what that plan is now today. If I'm going to vote on variations and all kinds of stuff, I'd like to know exactly what I'm voting for, not some future agreement somewhere.
Let's take a poll on that when we get done with.
Okay, other than that, I agree with the variations. I think, the uniqueness of your site and the curvature of the road and the curvature of your building and all that kind of stuff kind of adds for the necessities for variation and, plus the other things that you.
Well, if you want an answer on the sidewalk,
That's it.
we're going to put the sidewalk in on Milwaukee Avenue. That's what we'll agree to do.
Well, then you probably won't get my vote if you're only going to do a sidewalk on Milwaukee.
You know, what you're asking us to make a financial decision at this point, and it's a lot of money. So if we're agreeing to do one or the other, I think if you're asking for a substantial contribution, I think you need to tell us a dollar amount you're looking for then, so we can talk about it.
Told you $10 a square foot for whatever the frontage lineage of your property is. You know how long it is. He's got the amount.
Times 5.
I think someone's doing the math for you right now.
50,000 square feet.
I just calced out the frontage from the plat of subdivision. It comes out to be about 846 linear feet times 5 feet.
Right.
It's 4230 times 10, so it'd be $42,300.
That's for the frontage
That's for Milwaukee Avenue and Industrial Lane.
and industrial. How much? 40?
42,300.
40,000. It's 45,000 times 10?
4,230 square feet
Oh.
times 10,
Okay,
so 42,300.
okay.
If my math is correct. But I'm pretty sure it is.
You're the engineer.
Double check and we'll take a poll afterwards.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you. You got a lot of glass in this building. Lots of glass. The towers is glass. There's, a lot of the building is glass, and you're right up against an airport. Have you checked with the airport so that you don't get any glare off of that? Because at some point in time, there's going to be glare out there. That was my only concern.
We have not, but we'll look into any kind of coatings we might need to do on the glass to prevent any kind of glare.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of glass, especially in that tower.
Yeah, we'll confirm and make sure that there is no glare
Okay.
issues on that.
Yeah, but that's
good.
important. That was a big issue with the John Hancock building in Boston with Logan Airport, that they had to redesign the glass. Any other questions?
Yeah, but so's the airport. No, that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have one, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Burns?
Okay, this is a vacant lot on Industrial Lane, and there's been a lot of different industrial uses there for decades. Is a hazardous waste study required to be done before any building is done there?
Do we have any evidence or?
There was a phase 1 done? It's done. Okay.
So that's a required part of the building?
Yeah, it's done. It's been done.
Okay. That was my question, thanks.
Who takes care of that, NW Metropolitan Water or
IEPA?
Yeah.
APA?
There were underground tanks out there.
We did that study about a year and a half ago before purchasing the building, and everything passed. That was one of the conditions of the purchase.
Lot 2?
Yeah, lot 2 and lot 1, the whole property. And we did stage 1 and stage 2, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rufato?
Okay, just it's actually two, just for, the edification of everybody on the board here. This is actually 2 lots right now, or is it 1 lot?
One lot.
One lot, we're subdividing it.
That we are creating.
So we're subdividing it into 2.
Correct.
Okay, so just I know we have some newer members here, and I always get confused too. So we're subdividing this and building 2 pieces of property, and we're going to share parking, and there's an agreement between the 2, cross-access agreement between the 2,
Right.
that is formalized, right?
It's recorded with the plat, that's correct.
Recorded with the plat, okay. And we are doing this subdivision because they're in two different zonings? Why are we?
They're in one zoning.
And we wanted to split.
When we did the zoning, we usually go back 250 feet for B3, and everything around this, behind that is I3, but because it was one piece of property, it was all included in B3.
If I understand your question correctly, you're asking why are we going through the subdivision?
Right.
And there are a couple of reasons. One is that the new building and the uses proposed for the new building are more consistent with the uses that are permitted and envisioned in the I3 district.
Right.
It also is then thereby consistent with your long-range plans adopted by the village that call for, off of the frontage of Milwaukee, for Industrial Avenue to be industrial land uses while maintaining the business character along Milwaukee. So in order to be consistent with the village's long-range comprehensive plans that were officially adopted by the village, and in working with the staff, we felt that the appropriate action was to create the two lots. And also, frankly, we didn't want to do a plan unit development. It's only one building per zoning lot is permitted under your ordinance, one principal building, so we would have needed to subdivide it anyway. So as long as we had to do that, we might as well make the zoning consistent with the adjoining zoning classifications as well as the village plans for the area.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Then the last thing I have, Commissioner Dorban was talking about the storage of the trailers, and then I remembered seeing the storage of the trailers there. We do have ordinances about storage of trailers and, well, trailers or trucks that advertise that they can't be in the front. So we need to sort of figure out where they're going to be so they're not in front and they're not used as advertising.
That we perfectly understand that we're aware of that ordinance. As I testified on my direct, we will meet all other requirements and ordinances of the Village of Wheeling, including that. We're well aware of that restriction, and it's reasonable. We have no problem with that.
Okay, great. And it's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful building. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, now my turn. Between the two buildings, we've got more than enough parking spaces than is required, Mr. Jennings?
It adds up to, I believe, just over...
157, I believe.
2 stalls. It's a couple stalls over when you add the two together.
Right.
Okay. Do we have if on the south side of building number 1, with the diagonal parking, if we change that to parallel parking, would there be enough room for your requirements?
Need to see if there's a dimension that
The answer is probably. The stall width for parallel parking is 8 to 9 feet. The stall width for diagonal parking is 16 feet roughly, so we pick up 8 feet. We should be able to pick up something in the neighborhood of 8 feet. So
That sounds about right, what I was kind of guesstimating, and then they would be able to pick up 3 or 4 spots possibly.
So if we change that to parallel parking, we'd probably still be right on the button with the number of parking spaces, and we'd also satisfy the fire department's requirements?
yes, that's fine with us.
Can we put that in there? Now, so we're going to do a poll on the sidewalks.
And are we counting inside parking as well in the count?
In the 157,
Actually, we're
yes.
counting outside only, am I correct?
Inside and outside.
Inside and out.
Yeah. That's a total is 157 in and out.
So we have options on sidewalks. Yes, 1, do nothing. 2, have them build a sidewalk from the bridge to their property, south property line on Milwaukee Avenue. or 3 to contribute to the fund for the sidewalks equal to the distance or their property is on Milwaukee Avenue and all the way down to their far eastern property on Industrial Avenue. Do you know roughly what the cost would be going up to the bridge?
It would be way less.
And the $10 per square foot was given to us as,
We've got about
you
170.
can probably do it cheaper yourself because you've already got your engineers and everything.
Yeah, we've got about 170 feet of frontage on Milwaukee, and it's something like about another 100 feet to the bridge, plus or minus.
Times 5 feet.
Times 5, times 10.
What would you prefer?
Yeah.
For purposes of computing a cash contribution?
Do you want to build the sidewalk up to the bridge, or do you want to do a cash contribution?
Well, if we do a cash contribution, of what would cost to do the bridge, we'd do that. We would be willing to consider doing a cash contribution for the cost of putting in a sidewalk
along Milwaukee
Avenue to the bridge versus a cash contribution all the way around the property on Industrial. It's about half.
Here's the thing, is build the sidewalk up to the bridge.
Right.
Or a cash contribution of all of your property.
Well,
we would do either of those, but let me suggest to you that the benefit to the village would be the cash. The sidewalk from nowhere to nowhere, I don't understand the benefit.
You'd
If you've
rather
got someplace else where
do
you
the
can.
cash, which we roughly figure at $42,300?
No.
Is that still
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
we want to do the cash contribution if we do the computation along
right,
Milwaukee
right.
Avenue. Not around.
Right, we got it, we're clear. It's about $22,000.
We were talking cash contribution
For the
of
whole-
42,000
right.
or building up Milwaukee Avenue.
Right, or
Mr.
the
Chairman?
contribution
Mr.
of along Milwaukee.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The option of of a cash contribution outside of your property is not an option.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
Fine.
Speaking
That
for
correct?
yourself.
All right? So the 42.3 would be the cash contribution that would encompass around your property.
I understand.
Being a cash contribution for something that's not your property is not an option.
Then we'd rather build the sidewalk along Milwaukee Avenue.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the staff making 3 recommendations in their package to us, but that doesn't mean that is our decision.
No. But those are the ones we were
it's-
talking about, that's why I brought
We
it up.
don't have a consensus of this board
That's what I'm trying to get.
that.
I wanted to
that
see what they
Building a
felt
sidewalk
first.
to the bridge is actually acceptable. It's a recommendation of staff right now.
That's right. But I was trying to get their feeling on it, what the costs were going to be, and then take a poll of us. Do you have a suggestion other than those two?
I have, my personal opinion is that the cash contribution equal to the linear feet around the building without the extra cost because of the ditch, that the $42,000 that Mr. Gray came up with would be acceptable and does make more sense than any of the other recommendations.
Mr. Johnson, what do you think?
I concur with Mr. Burns.
Mr. Rufato?
We're not going to fight with them here.
I
understand.
Actually, I struggle with the I struggle with the linear footage, especially since really the sidewalk along Industrial Lane is not buildable, irrespective of what you have there, unless you get rid of the whatchamacallit. I'm sorry.
Swale?
Yeah, the swale, it's the ditch, it's really not buildable, so
No, we're
I
talking
have
about contribution to sidewalk
I know,
fund.
I have a hard time computing a sidewalk on something that couldn't be buildable anyway. So I would say the sidewalk on Milwaukee Avenue.
Commissioner Dorban.
Oh, boy. This gets more and more confusing, and I sometimes wonder if it's really for us to make these kinds of decisions, quite honestly. This seems more like something that should go to the village board. A recommendation is one thing, but, you know, I do struggle with this as
Well,
well.
the village board can change it.
I think we are making a recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, it's just that it seems... I guess I would have to go along with Commissioner Burns' recommendation as well.
Commissioner Stylen.
I'll go with Commissioner Burns.
And Commissioner Schaaf.
As will I. I would go with Commissioner Burns.
And I'll go with Commissioner Burns. You can appeal that when you go to, this has to go to the village board.
We understand.
So, any other discussion? Once again, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? There is not, so that...
Just one more question.
Wait a minute, I'm getting done with this.
Oh, okay.
So this portion of the public hearing is closed. Go ahead.
Just one more question about the building that you are building, and you, I think Commissioner Schaaf was talking about it from the standpoint of the glass reflection. Do you have to build this building any differently to soundproof it because you're close to the, this is just a general question, because you're close to the airport?
No.
No, okay. I was just curious, because, I mean, they're going through all of these things. You know, the federal government's paying all this money for houses and schools and everything, so that doesn't have to be done.
Not for this kind of use, no.
Oh, okay, great. That's all I had. Thank you.
You ready?
Wait,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
somebody down here.
Yes, sir.
Can we also do a poll on irrigation? I think that was kind of...
I think he said he was.
We've agreed to the irrigation.
They agreed to it.
Oh,
Great.
just want to make sure it's in there.
All right. If there are no other questions, on 2012-1A rezoning of a portion of the property from B3 to I3, do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
The motion was made by Commissioner Stylen, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Stylen.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney.
Yes. Were there conditions on that we didn't read?
Not on the rezoning or the
Okay,
variation.
And on the next one, there is none. 2012-1B, variation from Title 19 zoning relating to setbacks. There are no conditions. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Fado, seconded by Commissioner Dorban. Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Burns.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen.
Yes.
Chairman Maloney.
Yes. 2012-1C, special use approval for auto repair and body shop in the I3 district. Mr. Jennings?
This is the I3, this is the back building, Building 2. The conditions between the two buildings are, as I read them, they're going to be a little bit, there's going to be some overlap. So just, we may have to do some copying from one to the other because I've been typing as we go here. So this is the back building. As of right now, the condition on the sidewalk, the language that I'm suggesting based on that poll was that the petitioner make a contribution to the sidewalk fund in an amount corresponding to the linear frontage less any sidewalk actually constructed. So that would be, if the Milwaukee gets built, just the other would be contributed. Is that consistent with the poll?
Yes.
Okay, so that's condition 1. Number 2, lighting details may be submitted for minor appearance approval in the future. Number 3, the existing fence and scrub trees on the property be removed. Is that accurate to?
Yes.
Yes.
That was all the way around.
Yes.
Number 4, that the trash enclosure be upgraded to meet the fire department requirements or moved to the exterior of the building. Number 5, landscape.
And
Sorry.
if it's going to be moved outside, we need a review of the materials.
Unless there's agreement that they will be.
Compliant with the inside.
Yeah, if they go inside, yeah. Right.
That it?
Number 5, that landscape irrigation be provided. Number 6, the hours of operation be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Is that the extent of?
Now I think you've got one more about the south side.
I have that also,
That's
but
building one.
is that
We're
the
on
extent
building
of,
two.
is
Okay.
that the extent of the hours, though?
You know, that's about the fire lane.
The hours of operation, though, reflects?
That's fine, yes, you got it.
Okay, and then I actually have that on this, the parking. I'm going to move to the other one, so that's it for this one.
Excuse me, Andrew,
Yes.
are you finished?
I'm finished with the conditions on building 2.
What about working with the airport for the glare?
Let's see where that actually ended up. That would be the new building. Okay.
I have
Okay.
I have another question on building 2.
Let me type that up real quick. Go ahead.
The irrigation that is going to be done is a little vague. Were we talking about just the grass that connected to the building, so he's going to irrigate the islands in the parking lot as
Going
well?
to do the whole thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the 7th condition then reads, the petitioner contact the airport regarding potential modifications to the building's glass to reduce glare as needed. Is that
If needed.
if needed?
Might not be because they're not going to, the runways don't run where they're going to be looking at the glass, don't think. But
And that, I think, is it for the
okay,
rear building.
so we move on. 2012-1C, do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Motion
Call the
was
roll.
made, motion was made by Commissioner Schaaf, seconded by Commissioner Fado. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Steinle?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. Now, I believe on 2012-1D, special use approval for auto repair and specialty school in the B3 district, that is now,
That is, that's one of the conditions that I have, is to remove that.
is no longer a specialty school.
That's correct.
By the way, it's a nice-looking building, and I hope it'll help someone down the road a little bit when they go to do something. Give them something to aim for.
It's too bad the front of the building is here.
We're trying to set the bar as high as we can.
Okay. Number 1, the petitioner make a contribution to the sidewalk fund in an amount corresponding to the linear frontage, less any sidewalk actually constructed. Number 2, lighting details may be submitted for minor appearance approval in the future. Number 3, bicycle parking for employees and visitors be allowed indoors, or bike rack accommodating at least 4 bikes shall be provided. Number 4, that the school is removed from the special use request and is considered to be training for employees. Number 5, that the parking to the south of Building 1 may be parallel to accommodate a fire lane, adjusting the amount of variation accordingly. Number 6, the conditions from docket 2012-1C apply to both properties when appropriate. So that would be the other things that I just read off a minute ago that apply to both of them, that I didn't have the time to retype.
We're on D right now?
This is.
We're on D.
Did you mention the bicycle parking?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else? That's it.
Yeah, just a question, do we need a similar sidewalk statement in that particular?
It's in there.
It's in there.
Well, that was for the Lot 2.
No, you just read it for this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion made, motion seconded.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Okay, I'll take a guess. The motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, seconded by Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Steilen?
Yes.
Chairman Maloney?
Yes. PC 12-3, approval of plat subdivision. Are there any conditions on that?
It's late. Just as a note with the understanding that there are some revisions, as with any plat, there'd be a couple of revisions before the Mylar version of this could be printed. There are no conditions specifically in the recommendation unless there's something that you needed. But there are some minor revisions that would be required to get this into printable form.
Yeah, just that it be on 2 sheets instead of 1 sheet, signature box on one, and enlarge the scale on the first sheet. Minor stuff that we do. And
Nothing we have to worry about.
yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Steilen?
No.
Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato, I vote yes, and Chairman Maloney?
Yes.
And then the staff suggestion on SCBA 12-8 was that the item be tabled.
SCBA 12-8, appearance approval of the monument sign. Do I hear a motion to table?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
I missed who made the motion.
Voice vote on the table.
I think
Commissioner
it was
Steilen made the
Terry.
motion.
It was a voice vote. Can we do a voice vote?
Yes, voice vote is fine.
Voice vote is fine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's done. You get out and you're still alive.
Do you need a motion to close the?
Yes, we need a motion to close the public
So
hearing.
moved.
Thank you very much.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Good luck.
Second.
Second. All those in favor of closing?
Aye.
Opposed? You got some papers to sign, sir, and you'll be all set. Mr. Stavros?
You know, the gentleman that owns this lives in Wales. It's really nice.
You know, who owns the land?
What?
The subdivision. Huh? No, the plot of the subdivision. Right. Subdivision. Yeah. Where is it? The subdivision is just the I-3 and the B-3. The I-3 and the B-3. No, the plot. Yes. The chairman has to sign and the secretary has to sign.
Oh, okay, that's not what I thought. Okay, now I understand.
Terry?
But if he gets to the airport, you know, then they'll tell him if they need lights on that tower. It is an airport. You know, but they'll tell him if they need lights on it. That's why I didn't mention it.
Your comment, Norm, about the glare, I had that down here too, because they built the John Hancock Tower and the pilots complained they had to change the glass, then the glass had a defect in it and it was starting to fall down. You know, 60 floors or something, they had to take it all out and they covered it with plywood for a while.
Right. Well, you know, and during the summertime is when you're gonna have the problem. You know, when that sun is in the north, is in the north quadrant.
See, the building does force my curve that way. Not only do you have the tower,
But now you got those really neat glass doors on the,
I was falling asleep.
for the garage.
You too?
Yeah. A lot of good. A lot of good.
You want us to just record it?
Potentially, yeah. And, well, you know, and airport.
We can hire an actor to read it dramatically.
Oh, yeah, the guy that with the Allstate.
It's gonna be recorded.
That proximity.
The Allstate.
Why don't you get it on your new iPad and then just play it into the microphone?
That's the only thing, that was the only thing that I had down, Terry,
If we're only doing it once, then that's
for
all we
this whole
get.
thing.
You know,
Otherwise, I was too confused.
And leave
I
a
went through
space
this
if you
thing
have to use
4
a name or
times.
something.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
What were they doing? I mean, you know, I got the general plans, but not all,
Once you sign,
know, not all of the details, the parking details. Couldn't get it.
Jeez, I can't even, I'm at,
Let's get out of here. Day by day, one step
You
at
have
a
to
time.
change the cartridge in that pen.
Yes, it is.
Signing so many dockets, I gotta
It is a beautiful, be a nice addition to that area.
grammar school with the little ink cartridges
Lovely.
you have to put in the fountain pens.
okay, let's finish up.
All over your fingers.
Approval of the minutes of January 12, 2012. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is this a voice vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstained. Do you have that, Mr. Rufano? One abstention. Minutes of the January 26, 2012 meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain? One abstain.
That was
I wasn't
Commissioner
here.
Johnson, he wasn't here. Did you watch this on TV?
I did watch it.
Other business, Mr. Schaff.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to let you know that the Streetscape Sidewalk and Lighting Subcommittee met today to finalize the presentation, and we should be ready to go to make a presentation to the Plan Commission at your convenience.
That'll be next Thursday in the conference room downstairs.
That will be fine. Thank you very much.
What time? 6:30?
6:30. Commissioner Dorband.
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Rafato.
Yes, thank you. To play off that, I will not be here next Thursday. I won't be, and I had said that in previous meetings.
We have you down for that.
Okay,
You'll be disappointed, you'll miss a good
I
presentation.
know, I've been waiting with bated breath.
Yes, we're meaning to talk to you about that, too.
Yes, okay. On our last meeting, when we had Advanced Auto here, Commissioner Dorband brought up the west side of the building, and the petitioner seemed to indicate that you couldn't see that piece of the building, and you actually can. So is that going to be painted and striped as the other side? Because well, one, it's got to be repaired because it's not painted. And
It's shown on the plan as being painted. I don't know off the top of my head about the stripe, though.
okay.
Not
So
according to the way it was, not according to the plan.
The building would be painted, but I don't remember if it was striped. The piece of the building you're referring to is what's above the roof of the grocery store next
Yes,
door?
right. Yeah, you can see it.
I don't remember if the stripe.
Okay, could you look into that? Okay, and then the pharmacy at Fresh Farms, I'm at a loss to think of the name of it.
Kedvon?
Kedvon. They have, their windows are floor to ceiling, and they have got a boatload of product in their windows. And, you know, it's like, you know, we went through all of those exercises with the liquor store, and it's the same type of thing.
We can take a look.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I got a question from a citizen that asked about our packets. And can the public see those packets before, or are they available?
I think my current plan with the Plan Commission packets, they are available, but my plan is to make them more available when we go to the digital.
That's what I thought.
What we'll do, if you look at the village board packets, right now, since they've been digitized, and even a little bit before that, they posted a digital version with the agenda. So the agenda is agenda and then full materials behind
Okay,
it.
because I know you tried to publish some packets on some bigger items.
We had done that. It's a little bit difficult getting a mix of paper and digital from people.
Right.
I think it'll be easier for us as we've started to make that transition toward requiring people to submit things digitally and then a few paper copies. So now that we're getting some of these duplicated in digital, it should be easier for us to put together the packet.
And then when we go digital, completely digital, I assume we're going to be getting internal email addresses for the Village of Wheeling?
You know, I would make that assumption also, but I don't know for sure. I've talked to the IT department about how this is going to be done, and what I believe we're going to do is the first, there'll probably be two experimented out, two iPads experimented out, and then we'll go one round with that, training two commissioners, and then the next meeting will probably be full digital, just to make sure there's no kinks. That's what I
Repeat
believe.
that again, I couldn't hear what you said.
I've talked to IT, our IT department, about how we are likely to make the digital transition, and the current concept is to have two commissioners trained, experiment with it, make sure there's no kinks, and then train the others. Each iPad has to be programmed and set up. It's a very time-consuming process, so I think the idea is rather than have bugs worked out on 7, we'd be working out bugs on 2, and then the other 5 would just follow the same pattern.
Okay, great. And then lastly, you sent an email last week or the week before about the Open Meetings Act and about
training,
taking the
yes.
training. Yes, the training. I don't know if everybody's gone into that, but you paste the link in, you have to sign up you have to get an ID. You have to set up an ID for yourself, and then you can just go back and forth into the training, and however long it takes you. And it's all reading. But you do have to set up an ID. It's not automatic that you go in there, boom. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. I just want to thank Commissioner Stylen for referring to Thick as a Brick tonight. A great 70s album by Jethro Tull, and I had the 8-track. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. I've got nothing. The only thing I have to offer is, would someone please make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're out of here.
You even know who jumped up out of this?